So what did you say?
I said, oh, nice. He actually has some slight British accent.
Well, English is my native language. Well, I learned English before Greek. Well, sort of at the
Ah,
same time. So I've got a bit of an accent in Greek because I lived in the UK for so long. But in English, no, I just sound English. I'm not that excited.
That's so weird, Phil, to hear you talk like English with this accent. Because I first time hear you speak English, and for me, you're Greek, you know?
Yeah, it's in England, I'm Greek. In Greece, I'm English. You can't win, can you?
you
When
you
did
don't
you
belong
learn?
anywhere.
When,
Exactly.
when and how did you learn Greek?
So my dad was Greek. So I used to speak Greek to my dad, and then my mother was English, so I'd speak English to her. And with my brother as well, I also used to speak English. So I grew up in Peristeri in Athens
Hmm.
and went to school in Greece and everything until I was 15. So back in 2013, I left Greece. But at school and with my dad, I spoke Greek, I learned Greek. And then my mother was also an English teacher, so that helped. And then I'd speak English with my mother and my brother all the time. So it's really weird for me to speak Greek to my brother. He understands Greek. He finished Lyceum here, but it just feels wrong. So I've always had both sides. I always used to speak English and Greek every day, and it sort of stayed like that. My Greek, the reason I've got an accent in Greek now, I sound a little bit English, is because whilst I was in England, I didn't speak any Greek. My father passed away in 2014, and then on a daily basis, I didn't speak to anyone. It was only from 2021, I started speaking Greek again because I was put into some weird Facebook group during COVID with all my, weird internet friends that now come to the gym. And that was when I started speaking Greek again. But it was like learning it all over again because I didn't know any higher Greek, like what you'd learn in Lyceum, where you do ecstasy and things like that. I didn't know any of it. So I sounded like a kid when I spoke Greek. Whereas in English, through my career and everything, I learned English. I
You
said
feel more
much.
comfortable. Bro, I feel you exactly the same because I'm kind of the same. You left Greece when you in 2013, you said.
Yeah, when I was 15.
Bro, I left Germany in 2013 when I was eight. How old are you? You're 28 or what?
27.
27.
I
Damn.
just look old as shit.
Yeah, bro, you do. I thought you were.
Everyone always says 35 or 40 is what I
Yeah,
hear.
because you're a businessman, you have your shit together.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, for sure he's like,
Oscar, look at us.
yeah, man.
We're
But
failures.
Phil, I
30
left
year olds.
Germany when I was 18 in 2013. Yeah, as well. And at home, we always spoke Greek, but here in Germany, I spoke German in school.
Yeah.
And so when I went to Greece, like I didn't know any curse words or I had a big, huge accent or worse accent than you probably. But to be honest with you, when I talked to you, I never came to mind like that you have an accent or so. Like I didn't.
It's got it's got better over the last year, but 2 years ago when I first started looking at opening the gym, I would get nervous even calling someone, and I'd be trying to think, how am I going to say this without sounding like I'm 12 and just getting to the point quickly. So what helped was, this was very weird. First of all, my lawyer, all lawyers go down the theoretic κατεύθυνση, which means they learn like history and things like that when they're in sixth form or lyceum, and they learn, Greek literature, and they can write and speak in a much more complex, over the top fashion, completely unnecessary. So all of her emails to me would be like that, and I'd have to ring her and
Yeah,
say,
I hate it.
"What are you saying?" So I'd start to learn just by reading her emails and my accountant's emails and speaking to them. I'd pick up new words. And then this is the most autistic thing I've ever done. There used to be these email newsletters that went out from the Greek government to do with ESPA funding, which is European Union funding.
Yeah.
And it would be like 50 pages of this funding's come out for this, and these are all the rules and regulations of it.
You
And
understand
that was
shit.
just written in that professional language. So I just sit and read that every week. And slowly it made sense to the point where I think my Greek at professional level is like, it's at an acceptable level. It's way better than it was 2 years ago. And that's translated in my accent as well. I'm a bit more confident in it now.
Yeah, for
So
sure, for
you're
sure.
probably the only Greek person that actually reads the emails they receive from the government.
Yeah,
So
bro, he's not
you
he lived outside world, you know,
yeah,
past the ice wall. Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
true.
Hello, guys.
Hi,
How are you,
Andreas.
my
Ella,
friend?
Icarus, you look like Joker.
Like what?
Like Joker.
yeah.
Joker.
Yes.
Is that good or bad? It's one of my favorite villains, though.
Really?
Of course, the fucking Joker, of course.
But you
You know
look,
why? You know why? I can explain to you. Not because all the makeup and shit like that.
Well,
Because his whole point, the whole bad things he did, and the how stubborn he was, is to just prove to Batman that he's not better, that he's it's the same bad as him, you know?
yeah.
So it's the
yeah, but
stubbornness I can relate.
but but you're the Heath Ledger version. You're not the Joaquin Phoenix version.
Which one is the one that suicide himself? Heath Ledger, right?
Heath Ledger, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm not.
I saw on this point, I saw a very weird program on Russian TV where it had some Muslim imams talking about Batman and how he was not a good person because he was given billions and he could have solved crime, but he just decided to dress up as a
Yeah.
bat and go around. If he solved crime, then he wouldn't have anything to do. So he
Fair
deliberately
point.
spent it on stupid things to just
Fair,
pretend to be a superhero. But yeah,
Yeah.
this was on
point.
Russian TV in Arabic, or no, not Arabic, in Russian, but from Muslim imams. I don't know why this was the topic of conversation, why I was watching it, but it just stuck with me.
You watch some weird shit, bro. Some
You
Muslim
know?
So
Russian.
you speak Russian as well?
Oh no, I was watching with subtitles.
Super.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I tried to learn Russian at one point because the written language is very similar, but the actual language itself is very different, and it just became I can't be bothered.
I'm too old for that. Let's
Yeah.
stick to learning Greek and English. So, Andrew, you know Phil? You have met, or you have
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sure. We met in England.
Yeah.
oh, in England? You met? How come there?
He was over with Leonidas, and we went to Ultraflex in Rotherham.
No,
And we
I wasn't with Leonidas. I was alone.
I met you both there at the same time, though.
No, 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 no.
Leonidas is the kid wonder. He may in two places at one time, you
I
know.
was
Oh wait, no. I've
oh,
confused two times. I met you with your client or something, your friend.
my client. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I've mixed up two because I saw Leonidas as well, and two Greek Cypriot people. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
you're
Yeah, so Phil, as you may or may not know, viewers, is the fucking boss of the best gym in Greece. And I have a really, really, really interesting thing I want to talk about now because the guy above you, Phil, on my picture, Rene, the Lord, is above you. He's the most hated guy in every gym in Thessaloniki. Like, he holds a record for the most gyms thrown out of from anyone I know, probably. So I wanna maybe you can exchange your perspectives on things because sooner rather than later you're gonna go to Ultraflex gym. Oh,
Phil already we talked about this in the DMs and
oh
he already
really?
told me
Oh, really?
if you wanna come over and train like a fucking savage, you can do that.
Phil, be careful what you're asking about, bro. What you're wishing.
So I suppose maybe I can talk from my perspective, which yes, I'm not the I've got a different perception maybe for most gyms in Greece because most of them haven't really supported, and in fact, they didn't want bodybuilders
Yeah.
in the gym. That was the key part. I remember I had a friend.
Story of my life.
Yeah, actually, my girlfriend, she used to work at a big chain, which I won't name, at two big chains, and they both didn't want bodybuilders in it because they saw it as someone that could be intimidating for regular gym goers, and also that they would use more weights and wear down the equipment and all this sort of stuff. So my perspective comes from someone who's never worked in a gym before, never owned a gym. This was a side project for me that became reality because I just wanted someone to train when I moved back to Greece. So I can give my perspective based on what I think makes sense or common logic and what I think is applicable to any business. So
Bro,
it's a
you're
place.
sorry to interrupt you. You're such a Chad, bro. Like, I just wanted the gym to train when I come back to Greece, so I just opened the best fucking gym in the history of Greece. Just like,
But I don't know. I struggle with this because everyone makes a big deal about it. But
bro, it is a fucking big deal, bro. You literally, Stavroulakis said it in last podcast, last
You
Thursday.
revived you
You
revived
are,
Greek bodybuilding.
yeah, you are literally the reason Greece gonna have many pros in 5 years or 6, 7 years because
it was,
community and knowledge is gathering there, you know?
but it wasn't exactly hard. Just no one did it. I mean,
Yeah.
my motto is on a lot of things. And this was taken from it's my favorite movie. It's called Margin Call, if anyone's ever watched it. It was based off the 2008 financial crisis. It might be boring for you guys, I don't know,
I,
but
I do stocks, bro. I love such movies.
yeah, it's a really good one. And they've got the CEO of this bank who was basically pretending to be Goldman Sachs, but they can't name any names in there. And he says there's three ways to make money in this business. It's being smarter, cheating, or being first. And he said there's a lot of smart people in our business.
Is this what?
Yeah, that's the one.
It's Kevin Spacey.
There's big names in it. The
Literally,
fun thing about this movie was it was
the
filmed.
other guy, the other guy, right? Rene, you know him? He played, I think, in Dexter, or not?
I know that the guy on the right next to him played Vision in the Avengers.
I'm gonna watch this movie for sure, man.
But it's a really good one. And he says that you can make money by, I don't know, being first, being smart or cheating. Now, as smart as you think you are, there's usually someone that's smarter. I don't cheat. Being first is a hell of a lot easier. And that was sort of my thing in most things that I've been involved in. It's just easier being first. And then it can seem like this big success, but you were just the first there. You had no competition. So for me, it was kind of that simple. I was here in November 2022. I was at Dimitris Palis, if anyone knows him. He's like a TikToker sort of gym influencer guy. I was at his house and I was talking about moving back to Greece and I was saying, where do you guys go to the gym? And there's no gyms like I'm used to. And I just said to them, why don't you guys open a gym? And they said, we don't have any money. And I was like, well, and I just saw that that was generally the way people thought over here. They were caught up with wanting to have 100% of a business. They wanted to use only their own money. They couldn't really understand why their business would work or what it needed to work. There was no real strategy behind any decision that was made. And the gym's a gym, it's pretty straightforward. So all I did was, the more I looked into it, I wanted to open one small for me and my friends, so I had someone to train. And then when I looked into it and I did my market research, I noticed that for what I want to do, there's a big gap. And from what I could gather by how gyms were operating already, they were drowning in operational expenditure every month. They were paying loads of money out in salaries. They didn't have a big market because they shrank their own market. I mean, if you've got, let's say, 1,000 people pay €100 for an annual membership, your market is that. That's it. It's limited to that. It's 100,000 a year. If they were paying 600,000 a year. But all they did was by competing based on price with no differentiation, they shrank their market. If there's not enough money in the market, the companies involved can't invest back in their business. They can't offer anything else. So I
They
thought, well, all
cannot
my
even. I want to
sorry.
I want to throw something in that they cannot even pay their own staff. I've heard a lot of stories of chains in gym who may not be named, um, that are unable to pay their staff, and they're like behind in payments, and they keep just holding them, like, are you gonna get your money? Yada 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 yada. It's a shit
That's
show.
it.
Crazy.
And so I just saw most businesses in Greece that I came across when I dug into them, there was no real strategy or thought behind how they were working.
Yeah.
Someone might say, I really like coffee, I'm just going to open a cafe, and then throw some money at something and hope it works. They wouldn't have a clue what's needed to make it work, or if it's working, why it's working. And there was sort of this just blind hope. And that's why people take big risks. A lot of people would lose all their money in the process. Greece was notoriously hard to invest in before because there was no transparency.
Yeah, that's what I want
And
to say. It's on top of all that, no research, no target group, no plan. There's fucking corruption, and everyone
that's it. I
from
mean,
the guy that is gonna renovate your shit to transporting agents, everyone's gonna fuck you, especially if they see that you're not a local.
exactly. So the good thing was, so first of all, there was a lot of government reforms, shall we say? Oh, sorry, bear me 1 second.
Mhm. And
Someone's pestering me.
This ESPA shit was good as well. My ex opened a beauty salon and I think they got a lot of money.
Yeah, they're doing very well. I went to their opening
Yeah, of course they're doing
recently.
well, bro. They're fucking connected as fuck.
Yeah,
This was a
crazy.
no-brainer.
So I suppose with all this being said, I just did my research. It seemed very compelling for me to do it because the operated model I had in mind meant there'd be much fewer costs that I wouldn't face that other gyms did face. The model I was building it on was proven to work in the UK, where expenses were a lot higher. And they kind of evened out because I've opened up in the city centre. So the expenses are roughly the same, but I've got a much denser population. To put into perspective, Athens is 60% more dense than London. There's 16,000 people per square kilometre. In London, it's 10,000. The average gym
Yeah,
membership is similar.
yeah, okay,
And
but then
yeah,
I wanted to add something. But in London, you have all these like empty apartments that are owned by business people from the outside in order to just, like
yeah.
wash
So
their
I suppose my point on
money.
comparing it to London was, let's say if you look at Ultraflex gyms, none of them opened up in London. They've got one in West London, but that is very much the outskirts. But all the ones beforehand were in smaller cities. So, for example, Leeds has about 400,000 people at most that live there. And that gym was successful. And the memberships were the same. If they could pay roughly the same what I'm paying here with the same membership costs, then some of the staff salaries and other taxes were more, then surely in Athens, where you've got in the space of 15 minutes from where I am, 100,000 people with a gym membership,
Mhm.
not total people, that's 100,000 potential customers. 5% of that market at an average revenue per user of €504 a year, which is what it was in 2023. That's 2.52 million market per year. Now, if your average revenue per user is higher than that, and you can penetrate the market more, let's say like 2.5% of that market, which is 2,500 members, that's a higher average, and you're differentiated enough so people have a reason to go to you. It's a win-win. There's no real way
Yeah,
it
but
can't
those
work.
thoughts, bro, those thoughts
Yeah.
you just making roughly, I would say 5% of people that want to start any kind of business do. As you said earlier, it's just okay. I like this. Let's open this. You said
Yeah,
okay, where the cost to reward ratio is the best. Of course, city centers for me are dead in any major
yeah.
metropolitan city. It's way too overpriced, and people realize you don't need to be exactly in the center. Here in Frankfurt is the same, and but that what I have one question and two questions actually. Um, it needs balls to make a gym membership this expensive, let's say. Otherwise, you can get your money back, of course, if it's like
Yeah.
10 euros a month. But my question to you is, as I did with the podcast, I saw empty space I could fill. Just it happened. When did you realize, or did you realize, okay, let's shift the gym or let's do like a bodybuilding gym because did you realize that bodybuilding is coming up in Greece
Yeah.
and is not just not cannot be facilitated?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is part of my research, a big part of it. So Deloitte, for example, had some fantastic studies that they did, some research pieces that, and I paid a little bit of extra money just to get some enhanced versions and a bit more detail. But for example, 2023, 2024, resistance training went up 12.5%. 2022 to 2023, 11.7%. It was the fastest growing sector in fitness, whilst CrossFit, High Rocks and other stuff and Pilates was dropping in Greece. Greece had one of the biggest growths in strength training, but Europe as a whole had an enormous growth. So I thought, well, this is a market that's growing. No one's exploiting it. I might as well be that person. And even the pricing, to say, oh, it takes balls to set a price. I didn't just say I'm going to charge X amount and hope it works.
The math, of
What
course.
I did was I did a sensitivity test on I put out questionnaires and asked people and just interviewed people when I went to the gyms. And based on the demographic, which was both not just female, male, and what job they do, it might also include their lifestyle, where they spend their money, what percentage goes to gym, what type of gyms, what is the average amount they spend in fitness in total. So across supplements, across clothes. And all I did was I figured out, right, how much is the max they would be willing to pay, or not willing with it hurting them, but comfortable to pay. They would say, yes, for these kind of services, I would happily pay this amount. And then I priced it a little bit lower than that. It's a value pricing based model, if everyone wants to look it up, where the customer knows X amount of what I'm getting, I would pay up to this amount, but I'm being charged even less than that. So therefore, it's good value. And the number, I went as low as I could to make sure that the investment with the risk involved had enough of a performance in 5 years to make it a positive investment when you account for risk, when you account for inflation, and when you account for anything else that can occur. That's called, again, if anyone wants to look this up, in any new investment or seed investment, a seed investment is an investment into a new business. You often have to look at the weighted average cost of capital, also known as WACC. Yes.
So you wait in approximately, you estimating 5 years until you break even?
No.
No?
I can't share the details. It's less than that. I can't share the
Way
details.
less,
Yeah,
I
I
would
would
say.
I would suppose, yeah, I would suppose that.
Yeah, but my point is, even that exercise, hey, if you want to raise funds for business and you go to someone and you've got a cohesive plan where the assumptions are based off something that is fact, and you can show that I understand this is what it needs to work, this is how I'll make sure I get this. If the other person is an investor, it's an investment firm, it's a VC, their job is to invest, and you know what they want to see. I know exactly what they want to see. If the figures make sense to me, and as from an investor's point of view, I would invest, then they would almost be silly not to. If they don't, it's either because it's not the right sector for them, it's not the right investment that they understand, because you don't just pick an investor based on them giving you money. You pick it based on also the knowledge they can give you, the contacts, and some further guidance. You want a partner, you don't just want a sugar daddy, if that makes sense. That was it. So I thought money was the last thing on my mind. I didn't really think, oh God, I need to find a bunch of money to do this. I had some of my own. I thought, like, whatever. Worst case scenario, just open a small one. And I already found the first firm I went to, a Spanish private equity firm. They made me an offer after a week. Private equity for new investments bad because it's super strict and I couldn't do anything else for 5 years and a bunch of stuff. But I thought, well, okay, if I can get past PE, then I can private equity, then I can get to anything else. And all my funding rounds before were based on much bigger sums. The smallest funding round I'd been through was 55 million. So I just did everything. The biggest was 2.5 billion. And I know, and in a public company as well, work with BlackRock and very, very strict institutional investors. Like work with Goldman Sachs, Antin, Mubadala, the big Dubai firm, BlackRock. And it set me on a path where I know this is in very strict circumstances where it's high risk, there's a lot of money, do this. I'll just do that regardless of the sum that I'm looking for. So money was the last thing on my mind, but I was very certain it was going to work. There's the wild card that it's Greece, and Greece, some of the rule book goes out the window because you never know what's going to happen. But I just made sure I built enough contacts throughout the planning of it all to make sure, right, if you've got a great team to start with, then you'll be okay.
That
And
would
that
be
was
my
it.
next question,
Really,
actually.
sorry?
That would be my next question, actually. I wanted to ask you, how did the marketing happen? Because it seems to me like it happened a little bit on its own. Like,
Yeah.
first I saw it from Bratanis made like a video before you even opened and announced like this and that's gonna happen. That's how I saw it first time. And then I feel like everyone wanted to be a part of it, and it happened from itself. Like it took a life on its own. And you, as I showed before in your site, you gave the whole gym a face, a personality. Like you do your reels, you show your face, you talk, you explain. I think that gives value to uh, a company, a restaurant, whatever. I saw it from my father when we had a restaurant. He was the face of the restaurant, the character of the restaurant. People wanted to go there because they knew, okay, he is there or you are there, you know? Was this on your mind? You wanted to be like,
No, 100% in the sense of the point of it anyway was if I wanted to open a business to make money, it wouldn't have been a gym. Gyms need all the capital up front. It's a big risk because let's say banks. If you go and get a loan off a bank, the banker there has a bunch of different criteria in his mind that will make up the risk associated with a loan, and they'll charge you X amount of interest. Now, a gym is a characteristic example that they give to bankers where they'll say a gym is high risk because someone else can open next door. You're based off having quite high costs for running it, and you need a steady retained customer base, and the churn, so how many people you lose on average is 27% yearly. So you've got a lot of customers that leave and someone else could open up and do the same thing you're doing. Now, with that in mind, I knew it would be hard for someone to sort of copy what I was doing because the way people run businesses in Greece, they don't have capital reserves and they don't have the option for debt. So because everyone's so obsessed with not paying tax, they'll pass loads of expenses on their books, and it shows that their EBITDA, their earnings before interest and everything, is
this is the
less.
short-term view of the Greek people.
Yeah. Sorry, Lord, you've got a question?
Did you work with a bank in regards to your investment? No. Okay.
No, I
But
don't. I can explain
but
that. I don't believe in debt for new business unless it's specific circumstances.
okay, but technically, would it be possible to down like I would say arc what do um verhandeln Costa
To negotiate.
negotiate interest down if you have a solid business plan?
Yes. So
But still,
maybe
the gym is high risk, I guess.
maybe I can touch on this as an example. So I don't know if this is relevant at all, but do you want me to give you a very brief difference between debt and equity, like what the main drivers are in a business?
Go
So
on.
equity is if you get investment in exchange for shareholding in the business. So you say, I'll give you X amount, I want X amount of the business. Whereas debt is you don't get any part of the business, but I need to pay you back with interest. The differences are with debt, if we use let's say we use the scenario of a bridge. Let's say I want to build a big bridge, and this is where the term bridge loan came from. When you're building a bridge, it's risky at the start. the construction company building it might go bust and they might dissolve and suddenly the work stops, or the bridge might fall. It might take longer. You can go to the government and say, I'm going to build you a bridge and I'm going to rent this bridge to you for X amount every year. So, when you build the bridge, you've got like a guaranteed source of income from the government for them to use as a public road. But until you get to that point, it's risky. So you'll go to get a loan for this bridge and they'll say, right, he's building it. What due diligence have you done on the construction company? Do you know that they are a safe company? Their finances look good for the last 5 years. They're not going to suddenly stop working halfway through because they've gone insolvent. Do you know you're going to get guaranteed income? What contract do you have with the government for this? There's a bunch of things I need to know, but it's still a risky period. So they'll give you a short-term loan on high interest whilst it's being built. After you've created an asset, and an asset is something that has the potential to give you money, essentially, something that has the potential to earn, which is why people say a house isn't an asset, it's a liability if you live in it, because you're not gaining anything from it unless you sell it or unless you rent it out. At that point, when it's built and you've got the government giving you money, you would then say, right, this asset is now de-risked. This, I can prove that the bridge is built. I have this contract with the government. They need to pay me. The bridge is insured if anything goes wrong. If the government stops paying me, I can still cover it. And you'd usually refinance it to a longer term loan on a much shorter interest. That is essentially betting on your business that it's going to work. So unless you have a guarantee that as soon as you do X thing in your business, you get X result, you're betting against your business. And then you can trigger covenants. Covenants are rules of what you can and can't do with that money. And if you break them, the bank could take your business. So for example, let's say I got a loan and I said, my business for something random, I want to open a lemonade stand. My business will make €1,000 a month. And this loan is costing me €100 a month. That is a 10 times debt to service coverage ratio. If my business, and the covenant might say, I must have at least 10 times debt service coverage ratio. If it falls to me making 500 a month for, let's say, 3 months in a row, that have fallen outside of the covenant, and they could say, your business is our hours. And you have companies that will do this on purpose. They will lend to businesses that aren't doing well, that need money, because they know they won't be able to stick to the covenants, so they'll end up with a free business, essentially. So if you're looking for debt, anything that is, you're betting on your business every time. If you're sure you've negotiated good covenants that you can stick to, great. Whereas with equity, sure, if you give away part of your business, and especially if it's a minority of your business, let's say it's just you and another person, the other person has a small shareholding, they've given you their money, but they can't really do anything.
Yeah.
Even if they vote, chances are they won't have enough votes to overpower what you want to do. So yes, you've given up a part of your business, but you have a lot more freedom. With debt, the good part is, because after what I've explained now, you might think, why would I ever get debt? That it becomes cheaper long term. So if your business was making 1,000 and you were paying 100 every month, and let's say €60 of that is going to interest only, and 40 is going off to paying the actual loan. As time goes on, your lemonade stand might make 2,000 a month, and you're still only paying 100. So now that loan becomes proportionally much less. And as time goes on and you're paying more of the capital that you borrowed, the interest amount becomes less and less as well. So whilst you're paying 100 a month, after 5 years, it might be that only 30 is going to pay off interest and 70 is going to pay off the loan. So debt is great because it gets cheaper long term if you know your business is doing well. Equity is great because it gives you autonomy in the beginning a lot of the time, and you don't risk someone taking your business, but it's very expensive because afterwards, if the business does grow, yes, there's a big amount going out to other shareholders. So, but in Greece, gyms don't even have the option for debt a lot of the time because they can't prove what they're going to do with that money. They don't know why their business isn't working or is working. And because of what I mentioned, people pass those things on their expenses, the bank will say, well, you've shown me that you've got, let's say, 1 million turnover this year, but at the end of it, you're only left with 100 grand before
Mhm.
tax, interest, amortization,
Where did
depreciation,
that
everything.
money go?
Yeah, so they'll say, well, you can't cover this loan that you want to take out now. So they sort of shot themselves in the foot. So with me, I knew that people couldn't really do what I'm doing because either they don't have cash lying around to throw at something. If they do, they probably won't do the homework which is required to actually understand what their market wants. They'll do what they want. And secondly, even if they had all of that, there's very few people that really understand what it is that we're trying to build here. You can
Mm.
stick a bunch of equipment in a gym and make one just like this, but if it's run in a different manner, it
Yeah.
would still lose customers. So going back to the initial part, which was with the Lord training in gyms, yeah, in another gym, they might say, you can't train hard, you can't shout, anything like that. And don't get me wrong, we do have limits here. Like you get some people that come in, and I had to have a chat with a few people that I know personally who would come in to film. And because they're filming, every set, even warm-up sets, they'd just be screaming. I'm like, this is not how you normally train. You are annoying everyone now. Just, okay, if you're on your heavy sets or something, you're making a bit of noise, who cares? Fine, but you're not more important than anyone else in here because you're filming. That was the biggest part. People can film, but if you're getting in the way of anyone else, you are the issue. If someone walks in front of your camera whilst you're filming, you cannot go to them and say, why did you walk past my camera?
Mm.
Oh
You're not more
God.
important than anyone
Oh, I
else, you
hate
know what
that
I mean?
so much.
And that does happen. People get. I had
Yeah.
to have a conversation with one person because where he put his camera, you have to walk past him to get to another part. And he almost got into an argument with someone, and he got annoyed with me when I told him, "Well, you can't wait. You can't tell him to wait for you to do your set, which is two
Yeah.
minutes long. You're
Yeah.
not more important. If you think you're more important, you're not going to film here, or you're just going to leave."
The
Um,
audacity.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
You need to have boundaries, I think. And you know what? People are filming for the wrong reasons most of the times. Like they are filming for YouTube, they are filming to show off maybe on Instagram or social media. Very few people filming their sets like me or Lord just to see their technique and
What's with
Yeah.
me,
that's the
motherfucker?
set. It's
What about me?
You just post your deadlift or your incline bench. You're just showing off.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, but what's wrong with showing off, bro?
I don't mind showing off, but don't you dare tell me something when I pass by the
I don't think, bro. I'm glad when you pass by. Would
yeah,
love.
you of course, but what feel
Yeah, fuck them other
like right
guys.
now?
I suppose, Lord, if you want to come and train here, the only thing is you can shout on your last sets or whatever, or you really, yeah, as I say, you're struggling and stuff. But yeah, you're not more important than anyone else, and just don't leave weights out. That's the other big one.
Yeah, of course.
We've got 320 kilo plates in here. If everyone just left them out a bit, and people do, we have a three strike rule. First time is just you get told off, and we make a note of it. Second time is a 3 day ban. Third time is a 6 month ban.
Uh,
And everyone always has a big issue with
well,
this because they say, well, I didn't do it on purpose. And you can always judge by the person. You can sort of remind them then,
Come
like,
on, bro. Everyone
come on,
fucking
mate.
know. I have left weights and I did it on purpose. No one does just forget it. We always know we have to
Yeah.
fucking.
But even if they just do it by mistake, again, you can tell by the person. A lot of people go to quickly saying, well, it wasn't me. Well, no, no. And, if they've got an attitude, yeah, you just get it marked down as, okay, that's it. And then if they say, oh, I did it by mistake, I've got a 3 day ban, I just say to them, well, now you've had a 3 day ban,
You
you won't ever forget again. You will remember. And I can't, and they come to me and say, I didn't do it on purpose. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. You will remember it now. The
I have
rules
a
are there for
suggestion
you
for you.
to.
You know how people gonna remember it? If
How?
someone gets like a 6 month ban or even a 3 day ban, just fucking make him
uh,
pay for every day that he's banned 50 euros or 20 euros. And the ban goes like if you pay 200
the
euros,
point,
you have
bro,
10 days less ban or so.
I mean, the
bro,
point isn't to punish
the
them.
point, and the point also for Phil wasn't to open a business and run it like other Greeks, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what they
but
would do.
if look,
I think.
like Lord, if you were in prep, bro, and you had like a 6-month ban, but you had the opportunity to pay like 50 euros to go whenever you want there, you're gonna go 4 times a week for sure.
Dude, I would mop his floor. And like seriously. No,
You,
but
you
just
know
but
what?
just in but just in general, because I would appreciate so much going into this gym and training there because yeah, I know what it's like, first and foremost, to get kicked out of every single gym and also not have the equipment available that I want. Not that I need, but that I want because I genuinely enjoy working out on good equipment. It's more fun.
And I'm sure Lord, let's say Lord, because he appreciates that much this, like he understands the difference between doing an upper back row on a prime machine instead of a bullshit Panada thing. I don't know. Not having something against Panada, but Panada is shit. Um,
Yeah, but
and
fuck
Depends.
off.
I believe that all these kind of rules that Phil has, it will create a community. It might create a community already because uh, when Lord is gonna be on prep and he's gonna be 3 weeks out, I believe when he will forget and try to walk out of the machine, somebody else will take him. Let's unrack the weight, and he will even help him to unrack the weight. And I
Also,
believe
also, you know why? It's free calorie burning. You burn more calories. And also it's just gym etiquette, you know?
You have to just you just have to. I hate it, but you have to do it. It,
Yeah.
I mean, when you have all these passionate people in the same building, in the same environment, let's say, you will create a community
I mean,
sooner or later.
I feel like that's already happened, and that's one of the biggest things that people have mentioned in here is that when you go
Really?
in, everyone looks like they want to work out. And we've had a lot of people that have joined for the first time, and they've said that they found it weird that there's been so much support, not from us, but from other members.
Mhm.
Uh, because the thing about commercial gyms, I used to find in the UK as well, you're almost judged if you're trying hard. It's like you're at school and you want to do well in your studies, and people think you're boring for it. Whereas here, it's 30% of our client base is women, which for a bodybuilding gym is a very high amount. And a lot of most of the women aren't interested in bodybuilding. They just wanted somewhere to train well, and they had good equipment. And with them, it's even with the women, it's sort of like a community. They all know each other all of a sudden as well. So I've seen that firsthand, and that was very quick. That was like the first 2 weeks. And even in bodybuilders that come and train here, I know everyone in Greece hates each other for whatever reason. And there's loads of bodybuilders that I know don't like each other or have argued online or in person, whatever, but they mind their business here. They don't talk to each other. They just get on with it. So it's nice. So there's the thing I was worried about, especially in Peristeri, because I grew up in Peristeri. Now Peristeri is a lot nicer than it used to be, but it used to be quite rough, and you had a lot of people that would be from they would be rivals, let's say, stuff like this. We haven't had a single fight since we've been open. We haven't had any serious conversation we've had with anything. The closest we've had is having to talk to two people because one of them got really annoyed that someone walked in front of his camera. That's it. We haven't had anything else. And I think it's purely because we've almost filtered who comes through the door first. First of all, if they want a cheap membership somewhere and they don't really care about the gym itself, they will go to another gym. But if they want to train hard and they care about the quality of the environment and the equipment, they will come here. So already you've got customers coming through the door, which were the ones I targeted, which I knew they will actively try and grow this culture. That was the biggest thing for me on this. Like I said, if I wanted to open a different business and make more money, I would have done. But the gym was a really big part of my life because it's always there. Anything that happens in your life, if someone close to you passes away, for example, you can still go and train and you can still have some sort of control on what you put in your mouth. So regardless of how
Privilege.
chaotic anything seems, the gym is always there. And let's say you've got 5 things in your life. One could be family, one could be friends, work, hobbies, and your health. if one of these goes, but all four stay there, then the impact's less. But if one affects everything else, then you feel like your life is completely ruined and it's upside down. The gym is one of those that, unless you're injured, is always there. But even if you're injured, you can still control what you eat. So for me, it helped me through a lot of difficult moments and I went through a lot of change in my life. And when everything changes, you look for some sort of stability, and the gym was that. So I wanted that to be more common in people's day-to-day life, instead of it being relying on going out or trying to drink on the weekends to forget about your problems in the week, or drugs or something else that's not really as productive, shall we say. That was the biggest part. I really wanted the culture in Greece in terms of fitness to become a little bit more like what I experienced in the UK. You finish work, you go to the gym as like a on-off button from work, and then you go and finish the rest of your day, and you've done something productive, you've done something good. You can have a shit day at work, but at least you got a good workout in. That was the biggest part. And everyone, in terms of marketing, going back to Igor's point, I wanted to get people involved that actively are growing this part in Greece. So by the end of it, what you said about how many pros will come out of this gym, every pro that comes out has their own following, and everything starts from extremes, and you can get some sort of influence from it. So you'll look at bodybuilders and you can say, I never want to be like them. But I know a lot of people that follow bodybuilders and have an admiration for them because of, let's say, the discipline that's involved, or even learning a bit from them. And the gym and other fitness sports is very much that for me. Everyone can take something from it. It's got very positive characteristics like delayed gratification. You don't need everything now. If you're consistent and show some discipline and do things, you usually get X result, or you get something at the end of it. It is directly based on the effort you put in and the consistency you put in. And that's everything in life. That's been my whole career. It's not been, I want everything now. I spent years and years and years telling myself I need to learn before I earn, for example. I need to get as much experience as I can. And yes, I could leave my job now and do this and make more, but actually I need these things I'm doing to set me up down the road. I think it's a culture that is slowly starting to change in Greece, and I wanted to try and direct it as much as I can to a better place, because you see this, you'll all know exactly what I'm talking about. When things like this first started coming out in Greece, so let's say when bodybuilding or strength training started getting big, you get your first wave of public figures who come out, and 5 years later, you realize everything they're saying at the start, they probably weren't the best role models to have. So it could have been some of the earlier influences that have, let's say, fallen off a bit now, which gave bad advice or just pushed in the direction it shouldn't go in. People automatically start slowly to filter out who's good and who's bad. But a lot of the time you need some form of consistent messaging or glue to tie it together. And what I wanted to do was exactly that. If I can start to get more people through the door that just get involved in strength training, get some sort of inspiration by the other people around them, slowly that pool of people grows. They'll tell their friends, they'll say to someone else. Bodybuilding shows, there'll be more people competing, federations be able to put on more shows.
It just grows, yeah.
I remember my ex-wife, she went with me to my first bodybuilding show, and she wasn't really bothered about the gym beforehand, but she went and saw, I think it was, she went on to do wellness afterwards, but this before wellness was a class, but she saw and said, wow, she looks incredible. I want to look like that. And that got her into the gym, or I want to look close to that. So a lot of people can get inspiration from it. And the more people that start to see, this is the result of a lot of effort and discipline over an extended period of time, even in powerlifting. I know a lot of people get into powerlifting because they will see a really impressive feat. It's like Eddie Hall. Eddie Hall's done a lot for that type of stuff. No matter how controversial he is as a person, because he becomes such a big public figure that everyone knows who Eddie Hall is, and everyone now might know what a deadlift is. So that was it. That was the driver behind it. The marketing behind it was based on, I knew people wanted this, therefore the word would get out without me having to do anything. The hardest part was people thought it was a scam. Yet loads of people thought this was all a massive scam. They thought I just said I was going to open a gym and put like a pre-sale up and just disappear.
Okay.
I put a video up, which was a tour of the building when it was empty before I started renovating it. And they thought I just found an empty building and said, this is going to be a gym.
People are always going to find something.
And they always thought, oh, this is a big investment for Greece. Why Greece? And my points were really obvious. I talked about it before, but I don't know. I think it was just,
Yeah, it's just
yeah, people just being
someone.
pessimistic.
It was
It's
just
not usual for
nec
Greece, such a big
it
investment and in a
it
gym
was
sector.
it was just necessary, in a sense that we have so many European countries that from the top of my head I can name like at least 5 pros that I know
Yeah.
reside there. Greece, Pistolas, Helen, Andrew,
We
Cyprus,
got
technically,
got
like
so much talent, bro. We got so much talent over here, but
yeah,
we
Yeah,
didn't have.
so it only needs a stage, facilities, and knowledge. And that what Phil says,
All
the first contact to just go into a show or in a gym and fall in love with all the process. I feel like I'm trying to do my part online and directing this talent and passion, and Phil does it like in the gym, and you do it with coaching and taking part in
correct,
podcasts.
correct, correct. But it all starts with the facility, I believe.
You
It
have
all
to, yeah,
starts
you have
over
to.
there. Like
But
I
I
feel
can
knowledge.
see,
I feel knowledge. I feel it starts with knowledge because if you don't have knowledge,
correct,
you
yeah,
can't appreciate
knowledge,
the
but if
facilities.
you don't have the right facilities, it will eventually
Look, to
fade.
be fair, bro,
Like,
we had champions without good gyms.
I'm not telling you good gyms and to have prime equipment and Atlantis hack squad that is 10K. I'm speaking about a hard working environment. Like, okay, Ultraflex is top notch, but if we had another 5 smaller Ultraflexes in
yeah,
whole Greece, it will be amazing.
I
And
think
that's
Bro,
what I see now in Cyprus, and that's what I'm trying to do in Cyprus.
that's what I want
I
to ask
will
you.
not
Why don't you open something like this, bro? Like, I think it's a no-brainer for you. I mean,
look.
you're
I don't.
connected.
I don't have now. Now all of this conversation with Phil is like a mini seminar for me. To be honest
Yeah,
with
yeah, I love it
you,
too.
like I'm not good at businesses. I'm not a businessman. I'm just a meathead. I'm a bodybuilder.
But
That's
you're the face of Cyprus bodybuilding, and we both know Cyprus bodybuilding is maybe even a better market than Greece because you
correct.
have more
yeah.
money.
It is a better
And
market.
what's with the taxes there, I think they're less too.
Taxes are lower. Yeah, it is a better market.
everything in Cyprus is a lot simpler. Even the legislation, it's close to what the English stuff is. So
Correct.
it
Correct.
is a lot more simple.
It's
Correct.
just the more civilized version of Greece,
Yeah.
You can tell that, yeah.
a
It's
bit
Greece with
more
German
advanced.
roads.
Yeah, and I can see
Really?
things that
Yeah, I
happen
have a thing. Yeah.
here. I can see that we have more competitions now, and the guys want to pose in the gyms. They are kicking them out of the gyms because they don't want them to pose in the group classes and stuff like that. And going back to your question, Igarus, I will open a gym in Cyprus, and I do have now my private place. I have a lot of equipment.
I
I'm
know.
slowly picking up equipment, but yeah, opening a gym is not an easy thing
Of
as
course
as
not.
you can see with Phil right now. And I'm trying. I have found the right place, but it's going slow. The process is a little bit more complicated than I thought. It's not just like, okay, I know about equipment. I will just buy this equipment, throw them in a place, and
Sure,
open
sure.
a gym. It's something bigger, but it will come.
But I
And
think it's a
As
good
long
direction. Say it.
as long as long as you don't buy the average Greek techno gym starter kit and put it in there, I think you're
I
gonna do
mean, even there though, like the equipment was always a big one because people would make fun of other gyms for the equipment they had. It's not necessarily their fault, and I'll get to this in the sense of you want to open a gym in Greece, and most people that open gyms are usually some form of personal trainer or an athlete, or they just like the gym. You're not going to know a lot about business. I was a bit of a weird case because I just happened to like bodybuilding, but I never saw myself as a bodybuilder. I was always just involved with, and I had very weird niche experience that just helped me in this. The average person doesn't know this stuff because why would they? Why would they know it? So you look for someone else that does. So when it comes to buying equipment, and Greeks are notoriously limited in the information they have freely available, because even let's say the government changes something that's in your favor, they don't really actually communicate that. Like the government made major reforms here in the last 2 or 3 years, which was one of the main reasons that allowed me to do this. Even when we talk about transparency, the way they structured businesses now, they're a lot more transparent to attract investment, so you know what's going on. But even then, the government doesn't really, no one listens to the government anyway, and they don't make it easier to listen to them. So in this case, let's say Matrix, you see Matrix everywhere. Matrix isn't cheap equipment. It's actually quite expensive, but they understood that these are the limitations of the market. How do we best sell our equipment to this customer? This is the buyer. What buying criteria do they have? They don't have a lot of cash and they want a premium product to put a brand name to it. Matrix had a big brand equity. People knew Matrix as this, big American company. I think in Greece they are.
Just the name alone is catchy, and because the gym I worked with equipped all of it with Matrix, they do like the water thing as well, and the
Yeah,
whole design, like not only the
that's
machine.
it. So if you don't really want to get involved in the nitty-gritty, they make it very easy to buy from because they also give people interest-free, I've heard, on their
Yeah,
with
And
no deposit.
installation and
Yeah.
services.
So you're thinking, right, I don't have a lot of cash. I've got just enough to do a renovation here and I need equipment. What am I going to do? And the company comes along and says, I'll give you all this equipment you need, and you don't even have to give me anything right now, and you won't pay me interest. They say, well, this fixes the problem. So if they didn't do that, people would struggle even more. And as much as people quite often maybe don't like matrix equipment, I think for the average person, it's fine. If you're a bodybuilder, yes, okay, maybe it's not what you want. But a
But
lot of the
that's not the
bodybuilding
target
equipment
of
is too
the
bad.
commercial gyms. The commercial gyms that have Matrix nowadays, I feel they are happy with a little better equipment than the other commercial gyms. But
Yeah,
it was never the point of them to attract bodybuilders. They're not going to pay
yeah.
5 times the price for a
exactly.
prime thing.
And but that's the case then. So the other suppliers just never caught on. It was way too niche. They didn't have any good ways to sell their equipment. And Techno Gym did the same. Techno Gym were very smart. They were part of Vice Group, I believe, and they saw that gap in the market. This is to my understanding, I may be wrong, but I believe they flooded the market with equipment which Techno Gym is good quality equipment. Like it may not be what everyone prefers, but at least as equipment goes, it's relatively good, especially like the pure strength stuff. It's
That
pretty
stuff is
indestructible.
that stuff is
Some are
solid.
good, some are
Yeah.
shit.
So, but with that, they were very smart. They flooded the market with equipment at prices that undercut everyone else. So everyone suddenly started buying that. The other companies disappeared, and now they have less competition. So you've got two main companies that are monopoly. Yes, if you're a Greek gym owner here, you can buy very affordable second-hand Techno gym equipment, even new stuff, and you can get Matrix on interest free. So why not? That was the limitation of the market. And because no one and bodybuilding wasn't a thing in the past that much. Bodybuilding in Greece was a few select people that there was something weird about that really, like you have to be very
It's a
dedicated.
freak show. It was a freak show until I feel 5 years ago.
Yeah, because in England, for example, it's very easy to get involved in bodybuilding. All the federations are super, they have shows every week. Everything's very easy to do. There's loads of
Established.
information, loads of people do it, and loads of gyms support
And you
it.
had
Here,
Dorian.
to
I
be
mean,
involved in, yeah, to be involved in bodybuilding in Greece, you knew that you wouldn't have the equipment you need. People would judge you, and no one would really get what you're doing. So, despite all of that, to still go in and compete, you were dedicated, and that's why it was a bit of a freak show in that sense, because you had people that they were so right on about it. No one would compete casually like me. I just competed for fun. I just liked the process. I did 7 shows and I just liked dieting and stuff. It
what
wasn't
what
really
level shows did you do?
That was amateur shows. I used to compete mainly with PCA.
Okay.
I never came outside of top three. It was all in classic, and I got like third at British finals that in 2019. And the last show I did was in 2022. It was like a 6 week prep because my ex-wife at the time was competing and she wanted me to do the same show as her. So I just did. It was a stupid diet. It was like 2.5 hours cardio a day. I was still cheating on my diet every day because as soon as I got brain fog with work, I would eat something just to stay on top of my work. It was completely secondary, but I still came third. And I pissed off a lot of people as there's people that have dieted for like 20 weeks and stuff. And I knew what I could get away with, and I knew that
Costa can relate.
I didn't mind crash dieting. I didn't mind like for 6 weeks. Yes, I'll eat 1,500 calories, and if I cheat a bit on the side, it doesn't really matter. I'm doing 2.5 hours cardio a day. I didn't have great condition, but I was better conditioned than most of them.
You think
So
about like doing a one-time serious, like doing off-season and doing a prep some point in the future, just to see where you can go, you know?
Maybe, but it's just been like the last 9 months for me have been all over the place. I got divorced, I moved countries, I switched a lot of the stuff in my career. Like I went from being a permanent employee to having a consultancy. It was all up in the air, and it was basically I had no routine, no structure, and that was the last thing on my mind. I lost 11 kilos.
But you know it's gonna come back like nothing.
I've put on about 3.5
I saw
now.
you now 1 month ago or so. You look pretty good.
That was just that was just as Christos took over. Because well, he basically had a massive go at me. We went out for food and he just started saying I was being an idiot. And I said, oh, wait till work calms down a bit. And he just started saying I'm an idiot and said, fine, just send me pictures and just
Yeah,
do
you
what I
have
tell
to,
you.
bro. You can't be a
And
gym
then
owner and be
thankfully
like skinny
I
fat,
was
you
going
know?
like once or twice a week, and I was also feeling sorry for myself because I had a knee injury from October 2024. In fact, I remember the last time I trained legs properly was with Leonidas at Body Shape in mid-October 2024. And then for about 2 weeks, I was sort of limping. And then every time I went to train back, it would come back. So my legs were like half the size by the end of it. And I was just a bit like, it's all shit. So I was training once, twice a week. I was eating delivery or takeaway every single day for all my meals for
Yeah,
about 8 months.
that's the
And then
best.
thankfully, I just got myself with my flat and everything. I didn't get too out of shape. I still kind of had abs, but I just wasn't eating enough. So I lost size. And now my girlfriend Maria, she thankfully cooks all my meals and everything because I'm in here 12, 14 hours a day. And she just brings me all my food and stuff. She's been a lifesaver on all this stuff, to be honest.
Bro,
And she was into the gym anyway, so
uh,
she's got more abs than me. It's really annoying. I don't know if anyone saw any holiday photos I put up now, but
so
it's
it's
really
a great time.
Two idiots in Mykonos.
Bro,
yeah.
look, I'm 2 weeks out, bro. I'm fucking hungry. I'm dead. I want you to tell me what did you order in those months? Like, what was the delivery choices?
A lot of it, I try to have some good choices. So there's a delivery service called Protein Garden here. And you've got that healthy concept and something else that they're all the same kitchen, but they just pretend they're different businesses.
Mm.
And I get like chicken rice bowls and stuff, but it had sauces and stuff on it, so it wasn't super low. And then there would be dumb shit like 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd have a burger and fries or pizzas or souvlaki or
The
it,
hardest part is the freedom that is taken from me. I'm not hungry. I'm force feeding sometimes, but I want to have the choice to wake up 3 in the morning and order a crepa with Nutella.
yeah.
That's what's killing me in prep.
It was the biggest issue with me was how much money I was spending on this, and I felt
Yeah,
like
it's
an
a
idiot.
lot of money,
I
bro.
think I was spending 2.5 to 3 grand a month on Volt, and I just thought this
What
needs to
the
stop at
fuck?
some point.
Easy, Rene, easy.
Um,
He's a big boy also, guys. Like he will not eat one meal per day. He will eat at
Yeah.
least three big meals. So it will be
and it
up
was always,
to 20 euros per order.
Easy.
and the thing is, back in the UK where I lived was in the middle of nowhere. I had two delivery options. One was a terrible kebab shop, and the other one was a pretty bad Indian takeaway. So I never order anything from out. And now suddenly I'm in Athens. I've got like 200 places I can order from.
Fuck.
So every night I'd
Fair,
spend 20 minutes picking what I'm going to get. And it'd be like, there's always something like sushi. And sushi always ends up being 60 euros every time and
And
stuff like that.
non-satisfied.
fair,
Yeah.
The
fair. What
fucking
are your
the Chinese fuck the market, the food market as well. They sell us raw fish with rice for
Yeah.
60 euros. It's
fair?
I think about it, it's genius. My favorite cheat, everyone here knows it, but feel for you, it's I like kebab, like really good
The
fucking
German kebab there.
German, Turkish, I don't give a fuck.
The kebabs we get in England, they're not the same as the kebab you get here.
I
The
heard
kebab
about
in
it,
England
yeah.
is terrible. Most of the kebab, if you find a good kebab place in England, like you recommend it to everyone because
Yeah.
they're so rare.
Well, here in Germany, every second kebab shop is crazy. It's crazy good.
Yeah, I remember I had some good kebabs at FIBO last year. That was
Oh,
nice.
in Köln is really good food.
Yeah.
Better than here. Yeah.
It's like, Lord,
Fair.
you're about to say something.
Yeah, and Costa cut me off 2 times.
So
I wanted to ask, what are your top 3 favorite venues in Athens to eat from?
Um, Top three favorite venues to eat from. Oh God.
probably stuff
I
you don't even know.
So there was one that was my favorite, but recently it's not that great anymore. They changed the menu, but they might change it back in the winter. There was one called A Fine Mess that is between Exarchia and Kolonaki in like Neapoli. They used to
Hmm.
do, it's almost like American inspired. They used to do brisket and stuff, but it was more gourmet, shall we say. And they used to have these amazing gnocchi with prawns and stuff that were great. I really like that. Yeah. Now the issue they've done is they have a set menu.
This looks expensive, Rene. This is not for us.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
How much does
Now
this plate cost,
I don't know, like 25,
brother?
30.
Brother, I go to McDonald's and take 3 menus for that.
I prefer a good, nice meal at a restaurant like this instead of McDonald's.
This looks super tasty, but I think this is out of my
In
budget.
fact,
You
that
will
was
not eat that
unbelievable.
every day, bro. You will eat that once.
It's not that bad. Like honestly, for two people, maybe it would be with drinks, dessert, everything included, maybe 120,
Bro,
which is
look,
I
I
don't
feel
know.
you, but for Greeks, bro, this is a fucking a lot of money.
Another one that is very, I go to a lot and it's very, yeah, that's the gnocchi. That stuff was
Oh,
unbelievable.
yes. That shit looks unbelievable.
Actually, how long was that? 4 weeks ago. Okay, they brought the menu back. I'm going to go there again. Oh
No,
no, 40.
40 weeks ago. 40 weeks.
Yeah, that's it. They changed it since then. I don't like it as much now. Another one that I used to like a lot is Meat and Roses, like Guns and Roses, but Meat and Roses. Now, this is very good value. It's in Kolonaki, but you can get souvlaki that's got things like fillet in it, beef fillet with truffle sauce and stuff. And it's a bit more expensive than normal souvlaki. It's about 6 euros, but they do steaks and stuff at a very good price. Like you can get a decent sized fillet steak for 30 euros, which if you eat out is pretty good. And there'll
Yeah,
be portions. You can get like a chicken fillet with rice for 15. If you put it in Google, you'll probably find it. But that's really nice. Other restaurants I've been to that are good. God. This people, I might get heat for this, but I really like it because it's just funny. Has anyone ever been to Draculis?
no, I
Draculis
don't.
is like a steak house they've got one in Glyfada and one in Kolonaki. And they were butchers as well. They have really good meat. But the funniest part about the one in the center is it's also a club at night. So if you go there around, there you go. So if you go there around 9:30, 10 o'clock for food, you're sat at the part at the top, which is almost like a low bar with seats, and you're overlooking where everyone is dancing. And the people that go there as well, has anyone ever seen Blade?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know the first scene where they're in that
Techno.
techno, it looks a bit like that because everything's red and
Damn.
everyone's
yeah.
dancing, but they're sort of emotionless and just sort of throwing themselves
Bro,
around. So
this reminds me a little bit of Scorpios in Mykonos. Have you been there?
No, I haven't. When I used to go to Mykonos, this was like years, it was over a decade ago, so
Because
I don't
I
know.
was eating my steak there and they were partying down there. Uh,
Yeah,
we were partying there. Who was there? Like Tale of Us or so was there, and I was so fucked up on MDMA and I got so hungry and I thought I have to eat something. And I go there and I was not with much money there. And I see, okay, what's the cheapest thing here? And it was like a steak for 80 euros, and I ate it. And I saw the party from above, and I felt great. Like, oh,
you know what? Let me.
I'm
I've
the
got because
boss.
I can't remember the place I go for food. Let me just check here because she'll remember.
How can you eat?
Very
Bro,
How
quick
can you eat what?
on the
good,
podcast.
How,
Where do we
how
normally
can
go
you
for
eat
food?
on MDMA?
good
Where do
MDMA,
we
bro.
like going for food?
Really?
Mykonos quality, bro.
Good or shit MDMA?
No, good. Bro, MDMA, yeah.
How you are hungry on that? I mean,
Yeah.
Brother, when you look
or
on
it was
Mykonos,
like at the downfall of it, like get
look, you don't have to look at it like I go to a rave and take MDMA. When you're 4 days on Mykonos, you're 4 days on MDMA all the time. So at some
oh,
point you're gonna get hungry and eat.
okay, I got it,
It's
I
like
got
a
it.
blur, you know?
Yeah,
Andrew, the hunger sets in once your basal metabolic rate becomes so high that you just burn so many calories at rest that it just puts you on
I got it.
starvation mode,
After you
and then you
lose
get
six,
hungry.
6 kilograms of
I'll
dancing,
say
Yeah.
we can't go. Tell us it's a good one.
I know my limits. I will never touch stuff like that again. I know my limits.
Mm.
I'm gonna touch after if I win an overall, then I'm gonna fucking go party hard one time, and then I'm gonna
Same day,
again when I
Yeah.
qualify for the Olympia.
the same day.
You
No,
think
no,
of
no, not
some.
the same day, but
Oh, yes, of course.
the day before. No,
Right. Yeah, I'll mention
no.
these.
In September, there's a festival in Mannheim.
Thank you, Henny.
No, not September,
Do
November.
you, do you
I've
really?
got another one.
Oh,
Yep,
So
Okay.
I've got two other ones. There's one that's literally 5 minutes from the gym, and it's like it's a bar slash cafe, but they do great food, and it's almost a bit like I don't know how to put it. It's like a bar in California. It's a bit like R&B, hip hoppy type stuff they play. It's called Hope So, if anyone's heard of it. They've got a fantastic burger there, and they do like a chicken burger and stuff as well. I think, yeah, hope as in I hope so. Hope So is very good, very chilled out. They play old hip hop stuff on record. So they've got like a DJ with vinyl. They play like Biggie Smalls, Tupac. They play things like The Weeknd and stuff.
that should be great. Good
Yeah,
vibes.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds
And
awesome.
the owner actually comes to the gym, Marios Papadopoulos. That's a great one. And then two other ones that came to mind. One is a place in Haidari called Telescope, which I used to go to from when I was a kid. And that you can see the whole of Athens over the top. And it has really good food, and especially chocolate souffle.
Mm.
They make it there. It's not the frozen stuff.
Ah,
Telescope is really good value. I mean,
I
it's
think I went there actually. Yeah, I think I went there. From the couple times that I went out when I lived in Athens, I think I went there once.
honestly, it's a really good place. Even though, like, if you order chicken fillet there, it comes with, the purple rice, the Thai rice,
Yeah.
and it's got like a yogurt sauce. It's really nice. And then Hope So is, again, for their burgers, it's probably one of the best burgers you can have in Athens. It's just it's slutty. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's like smash burgers, but it scratches that itch.
Okay, now that we talk about burgers, let's go back to my cheap, shitty taste. If you had to choose KFC, no, let's start with Burger King or McDonald's.
Burger King.
René,
Depends on the country where I'm at.
Greece.
You get Burger King in Greece?
We used to on the
All
airport.
right, it's not anymore now, you say.
We used to
I've
have it
never
in
seen one in Greece.
on the airport.
Goodies or Megas?
Goodies.
McDonald's. Fuck goodies, man.
Nah,
Biggest
Goodies is actually a burger.
disappointment. biggest disappointment of my life, I swear to God.
Nah, good is it because you can actually get real meat there.
Goodies is good,
Nah.
but I can't. Yeah, it's. I don't see it like. I see it like one tier above McDonald's quality wise.
For some
Oh,
reason, guys, we had goodies in Cyprus, but it closed like a
Yeah.
decade ago. And I remember when I was a kid, I was getting one. It was very famous, Pita Pita, I think. It was something like
Yeah.
this.
Or pita pan.
I think it was Pita Pita, something like that. And it was um, like the Greek chicken they have in McDonald's, like this grilled.
Yeah, tenders.
Yeah. Uh, but they
Yeah,
closed. I don't know why they closed. We don't have goodies
Bro,
inside.
the
now that you say that,
chicken nuggets from Goodies are 10 times better than chicken nuggets from McDonald's.
yeah, I get
Really?
it right.
Like they
You know
taste
what
like
I
real
used
chicken.
to love from McDonald's? Greek mac, but they stopped doing it. I don't know if you have it in Greece.
What?
Greek mac.
I
So like Big
remember, yeah, I
Mac,
remember.
like Big Mac,
Not
but a
Big
Greek
Mac.
version of it.
Costa,
Yeah. That was with tzatziki or something.
make a research. It was amazing. It was
Yeah.
What?
burger
It's
with tzatziki
crazy.
in a Greek pita.
Crazy.
But
I
they
remember,
stopped it. It was my fucking favorite things from McDonald's.
This
That's
looks
why I'm not
crazy.
eating McDonald's now. It's been years
Look
to
at this shit.
this
oh,
shit
I remember
stopped.
this.
This was
You remember
great.
this?
God.
Yes.
It was crazy good.
Bring back Greek Mac.
Bring it back, motherfuckers.
You know what? McDonald's in America is terrible.
Also, McDonald's in Cyprus is so much better than
In,
McDonald's in England. I don't know, it's the
in
meat.
Greece is better than Germany as well.
It's
The
Yes.
It's
best
the meat,
McDonald's,
bro. It's the
Yes.
meat.
probably the
Yeah.
meat.
Yeah.
the
They
best
use local
McDonald's
products.
in Dubai, the McDonald's there was by far the best around
This
the
is
world.
super halal meat. They're praying 10 times before. Yeah, for sure.
So
Okay,
I would
if you had
choose
to,
McDonald's all day long because of the fries.
okay, let's.
Yeah.
I think Burger King fries are the best.
Yeah, I think also, yeah, I agree.
They're
Really?
salty as fuck.
I like the McDonald's ones
I don't eat
because
fast food. That's why maybe
I
I
like
don't.
all fries. If you had to choose like one meal from each, like I would take from McDonald's for sure. Oh shit, it's not so easy. Uh, Either the standard Big Mac or the McRib. And for Burger King, I would take a double Whopper. And
Yeah.
from KFC, I guess the bucket. You have to take the bucket.
I do McDonald's. I would do if they have the big tasty, I would do a big tasty with an extra burger. I don't know what sauce they put in the big tasty, but it's like crack. Otherwise, it'd be a double quarter pound with cheese.
Yeah.
If it is Burger King, the triple Whopper, but without mayo, just ketchup.
Why not mayo, bro? Mayo
Because
and
it's just
ketchup
too
together is
fatty.
like the magic sauce.
Yeah.
It's just too fatty otherwise.
Bro, who gives a
Elare.
triple Whopper, bro? What are you
Yeah.
thinking about?
I don't like the grease that it leaves around your mouth with the mayo.
Oh man.
And then KFC, I don't know if you get it here, but I used to love getting a boneless banquet with an extra leg. That was only chicken fillets, chicken popcorn. You would get baked beans in England with it, gravy, chips, and then you get an extra piece of chicken.
You
That
get
was the
only
best.
gravy. You get only gravy here. Well, the gravy is great. This is
Yeah.
good.
The chips in England, if you want to Google this, the chips in England are the best. The best fries you get any fast food place because they have the skin on and they put like this seasoning on it as well. That's like peppery. It's honestly just on their own you can have them and they don't need anything. They don't even need gravy and they're super salty, super peppery.
Those, or what do you mean?
Yes, there you go. It's like that.
Oh, they look good.
They're really, really
binge.
good. Like, they're the best ones you can get any place.
They look fucking good, yeah. Anyway, let's fuck this shit. Andrew, how's the prep going, bro?
What?
How is your prep?
Your turn.
It's going good. It's going good.
What's new?
Getting leaner and meaner.
And Mina, are you getting an asshole or what?
not like an asshole, but I can see my patience going lower and lower with people and with stuff that happening.
It's a good chance to filter out your surroundings, you know?
Guys,
Yeah,
guys,
I don't talk with a lot of people anyway.
guys, I have a question to the round, because I realized as a German person, Greek people don't necessarily like me making jokes that are based on irony. They really dislike the concept of irony,
No,
even though as a
bro, no one likes irony
Yatire, it's
because
funny.
it's irony, bro. I'm gonna go pee.
It's our like German way of, like for example, when you
Oh, you hear me
maybe
now?
Phil, maybe you met a person from Ireland before. They can be very nasty, but they just take the piss out of you, so to speak, as in like a friendly manner to like test the waters, how far they can go, and it's just like like the when the also for example when the Brits like call each other like cunts, or like the Aussies, it's not meant to be insulting. It's just to like make fun of each other, but it's not
That was
necessarily like offensive.
that was a big part of English culture, which everyone just makes fun of each other, and usually the worse, the more insulting the joke, the more they are your friend.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. That's my
yeah,
point.
yeah. No, I got that. I got that once with an American friend that I had that lived here. Oh, there he is. So if I was English, I'd say,
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ, have you been eating less? Like,
What's a side chest also? And a back
yeah.
double bicep.
I don't
Oh,
see shit.
If refit,
moon pose.
fuck you.
He
My
knows.
underwear is drenched because just before the podcast, my blood sugar dropped so low, and I was drenched, and I thought to myself, okay, no, you're gonna endure it. You're gonna go shower first, because in my mind I'm burning more fat, because of the clean and everything. But bro, I ate and
How many weeks now? 2?
2 weeks, yeah. So not next Saturday, the one
No.
after
Okay.
that.
Did you had your refit? You had a high day?
I had a high day 3 days ago. I went from
Three
94,
days ago. You still full.
4 days ago. I don't know. I'm not full. I'm
You're not flat
I'm
like
not
you were
flat. No,
before.
I'm not full. I'm just injecting a little bit my arms, and the rest is denser. But the
Is
high
there anyone you're
day,
worried about?
excuse me,
Fuck, bro.
what?
After that
Sorry.
infection I had on the bicep, I don't know if I will ever inject my arms.
Bro, I do it with the insulin pin and zero 0.5 every
I
2, 3
I've
days.
done the same. It's 0.5, but I don't know what went wrong.
I don't know, man. I trust my bro. I pin without even nothing, without cleaning it up, nothing. I don't know. I'm
Dude,
immune.
are you fucking mad? 2 weeks out?
Yes.
Dude, you don't wanna risk it. Like in 2024, I had a bad shot at my glute, and when I went on stage in Austria, you couldn't see any striations on the top half of my right glute because of the bad shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro.
That was terrible.
That's
That
terrible.
Big
is
risk, high reward.
risk you have
But
to take sometimes.
I make my cross.
Here goes. Is there anyone you're worried about at the same
No.
show? Do you not know?
I don't even know who's there, and I don't give a fuck. I'm so fucking prepared that if someone can come and beat me, I gladly congratulate him and will be happy for him. But I did my homework. I I can't see losing poses to no one. I don't know. Maybe my side chest is not a knockout shot from the waist up, because from the waist down, my side chest is crazy, I think. But all my other shots are really hard to beat. I'm really confident I'm gonna make it. And yeah, I feel rested, I feel good, and that's a really good spot to be in. And now with small manipulations here and there, we're gonna just take a tiny little bit of water off, and when I'm gonna deload and rest, more water is gonna come off. And we couldn't be happier. Like this went so smoothly.
Yeah, it's going great, and I believe you are so well put together that even though some body parts, let's say, are kind of
No, you
weak,
can talk, you can say it. It's okay. No secret.
yeah, you're so well put together for classic that it has to be an alien to beat you if you go
That's what I'm
top
thinking. Yeah.
110%.
Yeah.
110%.
Or
No,
just the
I feel
or
prepared.
just the or just the bodybuilder, like
Yeah, or something like that. But even that, bro, I don't know.
I think shape is in classic especially, it's the most important thing, and you've got the shape.
It depends.
Condition matters,
Seen
but
some
I've got
guys winning. I don't know if you remember, Lord, in Romania. You was at that show, not this year,
yeah,
last year, the previous year.
yeah.
You remember the classic physique
yeah, I remember him.
world champion, and he got,
Bodybuilding.
I believe he got the pro card also
Yeah.
in
He
bodybuilding.
did the most muscular as favorite classic pose.
Yeah, you remember him?
Yeah, yeah. Look, he
So
won,
is this body a classic physique body?
It's
Fuck.
what Chris Pistola says. In
It
amateurs,
was it was just a bodybuilder within the
in
cup.
Yeah,
amateurs,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
bodybuilding
He had
with a
something
weight cut.
strange on his stomach, if you remember.
The guy, you know what? The guy, I talked to him backstage because he was in my class. The
Yeah.
motherfucker sucked down 8 kilograms. He came
Bro, he
from
was he
light.
was he
He
was
came
peeled.
from, yeah, he came from light heavies. They wanted to do light heavies, but then his coach was like, "Oh, let's see how much we can suck you down and whether you make the weight." And they fucking did. And he said, "Dude, I was on the fucking brink of death." He couldn't even properly carve up because he was still so drained and fucked up from the diuretics and everything the day before. But he made it. So he brought like a little bit of fullness just to
Yeah,
revive
just
the
enough.
physique a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
And he
yeah.
just murdered all of us on stage. He was
Mhm.
just so much bigger.
Especially when
It
you're
was
tall, you
crazy.
know.
Yeah, he was bigger and
I
peeled.
Yeah.
suppose maybe size and shape. I remember from my experience when I used to coach once upon a time, I had my last ever client was Nile Darwin, who on Instagram is called One
What?
Punch
You
Now.
coach Nile Darwin?
I was his first ever coach. I turned him
He
pro.
turned pro with
What?
you, yeah. I remember you was
What
telling me
denial?
that.
Yeah,
Damn.
but
Holy
I
He's
was
got a
shit.
fucking content for top five this year, in my
Holy
opinion.
yeah.
shit.
No, he's done really well. But I remember at the time he
That's a
had
big shot.
COVID. He had COVID 2 weeks before his show. And he didn't tell me because he was worried that I was going to tell him to rest for a few days. And he sent me check-ins with his nose bleeding, and I'm like, "What on earth is wrong with you?"
So, guys, Phil Soumakis coach this fucking guy.
Holy shit.
Look
This is
at
what I'm
that.
talking about, an alien to beat you.
Yeah,
It's
and he
like
was he was exactly that. I mean, everyone used to say he wasn't natty when he used to say he was, and then suddenly they saw when he wasn't 8 weeks later, he put on like 10 kilos.
How
And
tall is
I
he,
can
Phil?
tell you, sorry,
How tall is he?
he is 183.
Oh, he's tall.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
183. And
Oh, shit.
I think either 183 or 181. It's one of the two. But it was around, I remember his cap for his amateur weight was 100 kilos.
Yeah, that is
Um,
183.
yeah, and
Yeah.
at the time when he turned pro, the guy who came second, Lewis Widgery, who I came second to 3 years before, funny enough, he was sharper, but Niall's shape was
Yeah.
what pushed him across, and it was a clear win for everyone. And they said, "Well, yes, fair enough," but he was big. But
Wait.
with COVID, he got really blurry. He put on 6 kilos in less than a week of water. And I remember he lost 5 kilos in 30 hours.
Mm.
And he obviously couldn't fill up the same and stuff. But even then, his shape was what just carried him. He's brought up his chest and his arms a lot now, which was the biggest parts he used to tell him at the time. And he's done, tremendous progress now with Callum. I remember afterwards, because I told him I'll take you to your pro card. I told him 2 years beforehand, 2 years time I'll make you pro, and he did an amateur and then turned pro. Like he did a qualifying show and then turned pro. And then I said, right, I'm off now to do my other stuff. I'm sorry. But when we were picking coaches for him afterwards, Callum, we already sort of knew, and Callum's very meticulous with him. I spent probably 2 hours on a call with Callum explaining every single thing we did. And you would not believe how little Nile did. In fact, even this first Olympia, how little he did. It was unbelievable. He would trip over a dumbbell and grow, you know?
You mean in terms of anabolics?
Yeah, it was. I remember when he wouldn't stop growing in prep, despite having COVID and everything. And it got to the point, I think his training was 4 days a week. He didn't do cardio for like the last month.
It's perfect. Growing.
And then I suddenly had to throw in cardio because I was like, please just stop growing. And his food was like 1,700 calories. And he was still growing, and I had to reduce all anabolics. He wasn't on any anabolics for about 2 weeks before the show. Maybe I think it was a few oils just before. No T3 ever when I was coaching him. A little bit of clan, that was it. And it was no one would believe it. And then Callum explained it to him as well. And Callum was like, oh my God, he's basically done nothing. And he went to the Olympia on. He didn't use Tren because he tried it for a few days. He put on 3 kilos and then had to come off it.
He probably would have grown out of the class.
This is what I call hyper responder.
It's so funny you hear these stories, and these are like the stories that you read like back in the day before you started steroids on the forums. And this is what you were expecting. And then it's like reality. These guys, they fucking experience it.
They exist. I hear stories like this. I'm thinking about quitting bodybuilding.
The funniest part was when I met him, I went to his last Natty show he did in 2020, just before COVID. And I saw him from 8 weeks out to see what he was doing. And I helped him peak and everything. And he found some old diet from a Lee Haney magazine. And he was doing that. And one of the meals was like a fruit salad. And he took the stimulate, don't annihilate way too literally, where he would stop as soon as he felt a burn. So he would have like 8 reps in reserve or something. And I just kept thinking to myself, how do you look like this? I met Niall on my first ever show because all of us said I was peeled for my first show. I was like 72 kilos. It was men's physique. But I would like killed myself dieting and everything. And I lost points at the time because I was too lean. It was back when men's physique was meant to be a beach bod. And we all said backstage, there's going to be some black guy that turns up and beats us. And Niall was exactly that. He dieted for about 4 weeks, didn't know what he was doing. He just did loads of cardio, lifted heavy, and ate a little bit less. And he was like by a mile of 20 people. And we started speaking then because he used to also be into really dumb memes like me and, very normal and regular political opinions. So we became good friends after that. And when I was coaching, when I first saw what he was doing, I just couldn't believe it. And even just throughout COVID, he didn't really lose much weight despite not doing anything. And then when he was training back to normal with just a proper diet and training, before he touched gear, he was changing like every week. I was like, what is going on? And it got to a point where people were I was doing things very differently than what the norm was in England, because everyone was doing everyone basically went through one school of thought, which started through Jordan Peters, and everyone just did the same thing. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I just had my own way of stuff. I learned a lot from Milos early on, and that was a bigger approach that I took, was not as extreme, but based on what I thought made sense. And then be telling things like, you're way too lean for your off season, what's going on? But he was eating close to 7,000 calories. And I was saying, well, again, like he's got a weight cap. He put on 35 pounds between his last show as a natty and then his first show when he turned pro. And that was restricted at 35 pounds. Like I was very careful, and it was more like, what? How many pounds do we have to play with? This needs to go to his chest or his arms at this point. Legs, he was training once every 2 weeks.
You know what's funny? Now that you're giving me all this insight, because this is the funny thing about this world. It's so small. Like, look now what inside information we have about a top Olympian. And I rate him high, of course, but I wouldn't know that he has so little kilometers anabolically. So my prediction can very well change for now or the next year. Like, I think he can contend for a top five spot now. And with that, what I'm hearing now, he can fucking go for the win
The
next
thing
year.
with the biggest thing Noel has in his arsenal, apart from the genetics, is he is a robot. And when I mean he's
And
a robot, he is a complete. He didn't season his food for 2 months because I didn't tell him he can put salt and season on his food.
That was my next question. How's his work ethic? Because most of
he,
the
Honestly,
times,
dude, he
guys
is training. His training is on fucking point. He's one of the rare people that I look at training where I'm like, the motherfucker knows exactly what he's doing. He's exactly putting tension on that muscle that he wants to train, and he trains hard as fuck. Very
anytime
cool.
I would go up to see him occasionally because we lived about 2.5 hours apart, and he didn't drive, so I would go up once in a while to, as
Damn.
we're friends anyway, so just to chat shit and train. Anything you tell him to fix in his training, you tell him once, and that was it. You never had to say anything again. He would always send you videos of his trainers posing. You show him how to change a pose. You tell him once, and that's it. He would never need telling
That's a
again.
dangerous combination to have someone with this kind of genetics, with this kind of work ethic, and with this kind of appreciation and respect for the effort and knowledge your coach, you are
And
giving. This is Ronnie Coleman shit, you know?
And that's
one
the
of
thing
his
with like Callum
one
as
of
well. Callum's coached Olympians before. He's got way
Yeah,
more
of
experience
course.
than I had, obviously. He's a much better coach than me. So for Callum, you can imagine, and this is speculative, but most pros I know aren't like this.
No,
A
no,
lot
oh
of them,
hell
it's
no.
almost,
Oh
they
hell
especially
don't,
no.
they don't
especially
care.
guys with these elite genetics, bro. They don't have this
Yeah.
luxury.
Andrew can
So
tell us. Andrew is a pro. He has a lot of to do with pros, but I'm pretty sure because I know now for years which amateurs, which I competed with and against and I'm friends with, turning pros, and they're completely amateurs in their approach to it. It happens that they had a one good prep or have good genetics, and this is what Andrew wanted to say. Probably it's the curse of good genetics, which I had myself. Like you work half-ass, you get rewarded, and you don't learn ever to work hard.
the thing that I used to always say to him at the time was, you've got great genetics. If you don't do well, you're the one to blame.
Yeah, that's
Like
very
you've
true.
got something that everyone else wishes they had. If you don't take full advantage of it, you're the biggest idiot on earth. And as a thing, like he would, well, even in prep, as soon as he'd go in prep afterwards, when I wasn't coaching him, as with Callum, I wouldn't really talk to him. He would send me like 5 memes every day, and that was it. There was no conversation. And I'd maybe speak to him once in a while, but he would shut off from everyone. He wouldn't, at one point, he had the option to move countries, all paid for and everything as well. But
Where
no, it worked for
to
him on his first shows where he did
oxygen?
well. Sorry?
To oxygen?
No, it was a previous sponsor he had. They were
Oh,
willing to pay to go to America and stuff. But even then, he decided, no, I'm going to stay in the same exact conditions that I had before.
yeah.
Same house, same everything, same place.
The
Doesn't matter if
Dorian's
I
the
have more
Dorian
money
Yates
now.
approach. When they said to Dorian Yates, "Yeah, come to California and you have the wider contracts and blah blah blah," he said no because
And that was,
yeah,
I put in contact with, well, back in, just as COVID ended, and because it was trying to turn pro, I applied a lot of stuff from my corporate life into coaching at the time. And they always say, if you want X position, you need to act like that, or you need to be surrounded by people. So at the time, I made him train with Dorian one time as well to come. But when he was back in the UK for a bit, I arranged for them to go and train back. And there's that exists on YouTube. I'm training with them as well. If you search Naz Darwin Dorian Yates, it comes up with a video on there as us training back in 2021, 2020. And he had a lot of this wasn't on camera, but Dorian as well saw he had just started his first cycle at the time, and it was like 2-3 weeks in. That was it. And Dorian at the time was like, "Oh my God, yeah, this guy's a guaranteed pro." And they talked a lot afterwards about what you need to do. And that was one of the biggest insights that he gave him. This was what worked for me at the time. You're going to come across a lot of people that won't want what's best for you, that will want to use that to exploit you. And the good thing I suppose he had with me was when I was coaching him, it wasn't for me to gain something from it, because it was when I decided I wasn't going to continue coaching long term. I was going to have the clients I had, and eventually I'd phase them out. But loads of coaches wanted to jump on top of him to just get credibility associated with him. And for me, I was more trying to protect him as my friend. And that was why Callum was great, because Callum really, really did spend all the time needed
This is
to
you,
figure
right?
out exactly. That's me, yeah.
Damn, bro.
He spent all the time he required to learn about his body. He put in loads of work, and they've worked together excellently. That's why I recommended him to Callum at the time as well. And proof's in the pudding. He's grown every year since. He's made tremendous improvement, and he's won every pro show he's done so far, apart from the Arnold Classic, which doesn't count because it was with a different interim coach he had, and he had just turned pro and he was a bit burnt out. But Dorian, I think that at the time was a good influence on him, and it did help him.
Costa,
Yeah.
You can see, if you want, at the end, it's got him posing what he looked like back then. Right at the end. There you go.
Let's see. This is like first cycle.
He was like 2 to 3 weeks in.
Okay.
So it was basically just changed. And this was straight after COVID, so he had lost shape and stuff in COVID. So you see at the time his chest was a lot smaller as well, and he didn't really have good arms. But his legs, when he deadlifted like 280 when he was like 19 or something.
It's the structure, man. He has a structure, nice shape, and he can carry a lot of muscle. I think if he keeps and he wants, he can go in the open. I don't know why my
Costa,
internet's so shitty now.
Costa,
Need to get that Starlink.
Costa, you know what I
Yeah,
wanted to say?
what do you want to say?
Can you do me a favor?
I'm gonna fuck him up. When
No,
I see
no.
Andrew, you feel discouraged, you say, when you're here and see guys like that. I feel motivated. And I said to myself, you just fucking wait. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
let me finish my sentence. Do me a favor, and the favor is you log in. So once you're in the conversation of a top 5 Olympia finish, I can tell a similar story to Phil.
Yes.
That's the plan. Give me 2 years, bro. Give me 2 fucking years. I'm locked in.
Bro,
I'm
I don't
doing
I don't feel discouraged. I just feel that some people are so gifted, bro, that it makes the game so much uh,
easier, of course. And it's not a fair world, but don't discount
I
yourself.
wouldn't say easier. I'm not discounting myself, but in order for me to get at this level, I have probably done more. If you take the workload I've done in my life compared to this guy, let's say it should be zero.
You know
There's
what?
well,
You know
I've got
what the
one
difference.
opinion on this. Oh, sorry. Who wants to go first? Icarus, do you want to go
No, no,
first?
pass. You.
One thing I'll say on this is this train of thought that I've heard quite often, and again, I compare everything to my corporate life as that's been most of my life. You often see people that might be, let's say, I've had colleagues in the past that have been annoyed because I've progressed way quicker than they have, and they've been old and they've worked for more years and they've done more stuff. The biggest advantage I had over anyone else was I never stopped listening, and I constantly questioned the validity of what I was doing. I was constantly seeking who's best to take me where I want to go. So, for example, my first mentor I had, and he's a very close friend of mine now. He's 48, but he's one of my best friends, Andy Cruz. He helped me tremendously early on in my career. He gave me a really good basis of what I need to improve and where I could aim for. And it made it relatable. I thought, right, if I'm like him, I can get to there. But then after a couple of years, the goals that I was saying to him seemed unrealistic. And I realized that I outgrew the information he was giving me because he was obviously limited on his own experience of what he thought was correct. And the thing is, it's like if you go to a restaurant and they have set menus, you can't order parts of menu one and menu two. You have to do everything on menu one.
Take
And it's
everything.
the same with coaching. To an extent, you can't just take bits and bobs from here and there and apply all together. It doesn't all work. Like, you know, if you're doing super low volume and you're smashing loads of carbs and insulin during your workout, you're not really getting a major benefit from it. Maybe as if you were doing different trial training. One random example. But in this case, what I see in bodybuilding as well, people will get stuck, let's say, with one school of thought, and it'll get them so far so good, and then they won't ever be able to listen to anything else after that. Now, I don't know if you fall into this, but the effort you put in, you want to make sure you're getting the biggest amount back for that effort you put in, and the effort you put in has to change its direction over time. So if I just put all my effort into what I did 7 years ago, which was I need to specialize and become really good at this to then get a promotion. If I was still doing that, I would have topped out where I was when I was 24. And that's when it hit me when I was 24. I thought, I'm where I thought I'd be when I'm 40, and now I don't want any of this. I need to look further afield. I can't just go down this route. So what I would say bodybuilders do is that quite often they get something that worked for them. They never question it. I've always done this, and that's it. Which is, I'm never an advocate for people constantly switching coaches because you have to learn each method at a time. But even if you say the same coach, being able to question why you're doing what you're doing then often makes a little bit more sense down the line if you need to change anything. Now, I don't really know about your train or diet or anything like that, or what your coaching is like. I think, are you with, is it Cuba you're with? Yeah. I don't really know what Cuba's like as a coach, to be honest. But still, it might be other parts of your lifestyle, whether it's even a case of lifestyle change as a whole. Do you need to change another part of your life, what you're doing now? Sometimes things need to change and need to be sacrifice made, and our efforts can be constant, but the direction of the effort can change.
Look, Andrew and Rene has everything on point. Just so you know, they're autistic bodybuilders, like 120%. What I want to get to is the limitations you set on yourself. And what makes bodybuilding special is you can have the craziest genetics, blah, 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 but life and God brings balance to everything. It's like what we talked about earlier. You have good genetics, you have the curse of good genetics. You don't learn to work hard. Those guys, especially Lord, who self-admittedly describes himself as the worst genetics there is for bodybuilding, and he can say to that.
I wouldn't say the worst.
Yeah, you said it to me years ago. Anyway, we're gonna show pictures. But he states so stubborn and so consistent and 110% for 10 years that he outworked guys like me. I thought I'm gonna surpass him in 2 years because I consider myself a genetic freak, but I'm still not on his level. And what I want to say to Andrew is all those freaks you see now in the 212 and you're gonna compete against, blah, 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 they're not 80% of them not going to be there in 3, 4, 5 years, or either they got a fast rise up with
I agree.
not sustainable.
Also, what I think, what not just recent contest history, but in general in bodybuilding showed us is that if you are a genetic phenom, I think the bar in like what the judges expect you to bring is also getting raised.
Correct.
So that means that somebody like Andrew can snuck in there and actually knock somebody out who has way better genetics because this guy didn't bring his A game, what Andrew did. And Andrew made up for it. Andrew made up for it over the years by getting more balanced, more symmetrical, more gradient, more conditioned.
To that, the traits or freakiness each of one of us may have in us shows sometimes after 4, 5, 10 years of training, like the crazy muscle
Yeah.
bellies or the crazy
Yes.
And you
pose.
have to remember, guys, comparison is the thief of joy. I'm trying not to compare myself with those kind of guys, but I am going to compete with those guys, with these genetic freaks like Garcia, like guys like I've been following Keon for a long, long time. The guy was couldn't stick to his diet for so many years. Once he made that switch, he just locked in for just a few years. He's the best bodybuilder in the world, and you can't compete with that. You can't tell me that those guys are gods, like those guys are
Yeah, bro,
gods.
but
You
you don't have to.
can't do anything.
Like, I'm not gonna compare myself to Chris Bumstead, even though I think I can beat him in 5 years.
But me as a professional, I have to compare
Yeah,
myself
but
with
sure,
professional.
but there are other professionals except of Mr. Olympia, you know. You have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
make a good pro
I have
career.
beat
Like,
the
if you
story
win
of my
pro
life
shows
for
here
me
and
is
there, that's good, bro, you know.
yeah, yeah. I've beat so many people with better genetics than me, and I'm sure I will beat a
That's my
lot of
point. You're
people
gonna beat
also.
Yeah,
guys you
I
think now you're
suppose
not gonna beat. You're gonna beat them
maybe a
still.
maybe a question maybe on this is asking sort of the very basic one, but important, which is why. So I'll get on to this. Maybe this goes again, corporate world, career advice, or what someone wants to do in general with their life. I'm the person that's known to put people face to face with themselves and cause them to have a sort of breakdown. I won't do this now, but if you ask why you're competing, because in men, what is it that drives men for the most part? There's the whole, the battle of the sexes, but we can learn from it. Men are
That's
usually
it.
I'm a
driven
big fan
by
of that.
ego and pride.
Instincts. I completely are with you. I
That
love
is
to
not an
compare
instinct.
and compete myself with other male and to secure my superiority. I don't know. I just
That's
love
it.
to
So
be.
there's an aspect of egoism and there's an aspect of pride. Now
It's both.
this how I see this as that they're not the same thing. They're very different, and I'll explain it. Maybe this could go back. There's a Russian philosopher that was a Russian American, Russian English, can't remember, called Ayn Rand. You ever heard of her? She believed in something called objectivism, which is mainly things are black and white, things are the way they are, there's no emotion attached to it. It is what it is, and you make the most of whatever it is. And the question might be, let's say we compare egotism and pride. Pride quite often is a limitation on people because if you say, I'm really proud of what I've done, you're almost admitting I've done enough. You
Yeah, but
can, but if
what when
you're
you say
egotistical,
what when you
sorry,
say I wanna be proud of what I will become, because that's what I interpreted with pride. Like in
that
50 years I wanna, or in 100 years I wanna
you
be in the history books. And I'm
you're sticking to basically adding a finite limit on when you will be happy with something. So you're already setting a limitation yourself. So one thing that let me explain this a different way. Let's say egotism. Egotism, what is that? It's people associated with something bad or being selfish. But the truth is, in men at least, it's mainly competitiveness. And this doesn't need to be with other men, it could be with yourself. You can be very egotistical, but have very low pride. Now, that was something that I found with myself, and there's good and bad things about this. I don't really have any pride. I've never really been proud. Let's say when the gym opened, loads of people close to me told me off because I didn't celebrate it. I wasn't really bothered by it. It was just the gym's open. That was the bare minimum I had to happen. If the gym didn't open, then I could maybe say, right, I'll acknowledge that this has been good. 2 years down the line when it's all been running great and I can prove it works. But for the opening up, why would I be proud of that? I did the bare minimum required, but I was egotistical, which was I never really cared about what others did. When I competed, I never competed thinking I want to beat this person. I want to be first. It was always I want to beat what my expectations were of myself and then set a new goal. Now, the bad thing is you're never satisfied when that's the case because there's no limit in terms of your ambition of where you'll
And
finally be.
you keep raising the bar.
Yeah, so it does prevent you from a point of living in the moment or being present at points, and you can remind yourself of that. The same for me in bodybuilding to an extent is you can do all your shows and you can win things and stuff. And what does it really mean? If it doesn't mean anything for you, and why does it mean something for you? Is it a case of this is proof to myself that I can do something? Or is it more, I just want to be better than someone else? Is it because I want other people's approvals? I think it should always start from yourself. And being egotistical is not a bad thing, because we live in a society where it's celebrated to be a second-hander, to feed off other people's success, which could be charity. People get enormous credit if they give to charity, right? Because it's seen as something ethical. You're giving to the people and you're celebrating giving to people. Now, do you think it's moral to give? Let's say your friend comes and says, I need £5 desperately, otherwise I'm going to be homeless. I believe it's not black and white that you should or shouldn't help them out. If they haven't, if let's say something terrible's happened to them, like a very unfortunate circumstance out of their control, their health suddenly suffered out of nowhere and they lost something big that they couldn't predict, and you give them money, fine, you're being a good friend. But if it's because of their own behaviors that led them there, if you give them money, you're committing a sin, I say,
Yeah,
as you're
nothing
doing.
is black and white. But
Yeah.
doesn't the same goes to egotistic and pride? Like, it's not either or. Like, I feel it's both. It can be
I'm
both.
saying if you want a mindset more that's going to get you to a point of constantly developing, pride needs to be lower. You need to be able to say, I will listen to someone else. I will accept this about myself, and I'm not going to just be chasing pride as something that's going to give me validation in what I
Yeah,
do.
but
And you
pride,
can't stay the same.
we can't,
Pride is
we have
saying,
to analyze, dissect pride a little bit, because it's not like take me for example. How would you categorize this? I I'm not proud of what I have done until now, because I don't feel I have done nothing. Everyone says, yeah, you the best amateur in Greece and blah blah blah. But I want to be proud of my career. I just something inside me since a child. When it comes to athletics, sports, I was always best. And I knew something, I'm gonna be good at some sport. And it happens to be bodybuilding, but I'm not even close to where I want to be proud of myself, because I have to raise the bar. As you said, Rene, you keep raising the bar. My bar is already high, the highest. I want to be the best. I
so
feel I can be the best. I am delusional, maybe, but something inside me. But at the same time, yeah, mm, yeah, I'm not happy with what I,
let's look at it
what is
this
that?
way. If you consider what you're doing now, why do you want to be the best at what you're doing? Is it you can see it as either your own validation from your own actions or from others? Like, is it a case I want to be better than everyone else, so everyone sees me and gives me more social acceptance, more prestige, more rewards as a whole? Or is it living by your own values and refusing to exist for others? Pride, again, they're both nuanced in terms of the differences, but they are quite different. Let's say Ayn Rand, this person I was talking about, she wrote a book called The Fountainhead. The Fountainhead talks about two architects that went in their career in different ways. On one of them, egotism for this person was portrayed as a bad thing because he was seen as selfless in the worst kind of way. So he was basically living for others. He was basing what he does on his own judgment, was based on the desires and for integrity, social acceptance, prestige, and external rewards from what everyone else thought of
This
him.
is nothing like me.
Yes,
This
and
is nothing.
the other person, you could say he was doing it for, he had moral ambitiousness, and it wasn't about boasting his superiority to others. It was more an uncompromising dedication to his own vision, his work, his standard, and it was all for himself. So you could say everything he's doing is for himself. That's incredibly selfish, but he was creating something out of that. He didn't care about the money, the opportunities, or the reputation. He just wanted to never betray himself. And they say integrity is the last thing you can hold on to, and hold on to for as long as you want. What we see, though, is that can have a catastrophic effect on people. When they say, I care about myself, my work, my vision, what I create, it can make people just fold in on themselves and just stay in a fixed
This is Lord.
mindset.
Lord, this is you. I
What?
feel this is exactly you, this example.
It's why I don't believe in mindset. Mindset, it's not set, it's something that needs to change the circumstances. But
And
but
look,
so
look what I think also because you're saying that's what you may be getting wrong about me is like I appear to have a lot of pride because I don't let other people tell me what to do
No, I
or
mean the opposite. I mean you do it for yourself, only for yourself, and you're so locked in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look what I thought about whilst Phil was talking is that for me personally it's because like ever since I started the sport, like seriously, after the first workout, I was like, this feels just right. Like for the first time in my life, I'm not trying to catch up to anybody or do something or try to become better than other people because I was always somewhat decent in sports and athletics, but I was just never the best. I was like up there, kind of at the beginning, but I don't know. It just never was the best at anything. And as soon as I started training, it was like, okay, this feels right, kind of. And for now, for me, it is that all of these years I spent time immersing myself into this so much, and just because I wanted to be this, I wanted to be the bodybuilder guy, but just because I always told myself that I am. I'm identified myself with the things that I did, not because I wanted other people necessarily to see me, but just because I saw myself this way. And I wanted to like for myself, I wanted to make this like not in a sense more apparent, but I wanted to get to a level so not I can convince myself that I am this,
You want to
you
become a
know?
bodybuilder. Yeah.
Yes.
To
And
look,
also the biggest joy of all of it for me is spending years down, in the trenches, training, eating my meals, doing everything that I'm supposed to do, not even second guessing it. It's just second nature at this point. And then looking up one day and seeing myself maybe like on stage or in a picture and then reflect back of what I did in that period of time where I just ignored everything around me and I realized what I accomplished in that time, which is something that if you were to tell me like or show me a picture of how I am now and you show that to my younger self, I wouldn't believe you that I would get there.
I
Uh,
suppose
Guys,
one
last thing, and I will leave because I have to get out. But I love this kind of conversations, and I'm a guy that really, really digs deep into my thinking. And one thing that Lord said, and also Phil said, which is very important, that I understood is very important throughout your life, is to know your whys, know why you are doing what you are doing. And I've
Yeah.
been struggling a lot of years of my life when my why wasn't clear enough. I was making decisions that I'm not proud of. Similar life like Costas was living. I have done stuff in my life. I wasn't all the time locked in what I want and what I love. And if you crystal clear your why in your head, not about bodybuilding, about everything in your life, why you are doing this, it will make a ton of difference, and that's how you can reach success and happiness, I would say, because success without happiness is nothing.
you have to choose a life path, and happiness is a continuation of successes and dopamine boosts.
For
And
me, happiness is it's like a trip. It's not
yeah,
a
you
goal.
have to
It's
always
Yeah,
do things
because
that make you happy.
I've been trying what Phil was saying, like when he didn't enjoy, let's say he didn't party the gym opening. I was always thinking when I was younger that okay, when I do this, I will be successful. And I was somehow correlated success with happiness. And I was waiting to feel something when I turned pro. I was waiting to feel, but you know what? Nothing came because accomplishing the goal is not the success.
I
It's
feel
like
that you didn't
the
enjoy
path.
it though. You didn't get to enjoy it because
Mm,
I get happiness from my successes because I focus on me and myself. I think you had so much negativity when you went pro,
probably it
and
was the wrong
it got
mindset,
to
I
you,
but
you
think,
know.
back
I
then
think,
I didn't
I
have
think
my why cleared in
As
my head.
also let me draw the line real quick to what Phil was saying. I think these things, why Phil didn't celebrate the Ultraflex opening and why you didn't celebrate you becoming pro, because in your head, and I have the same thing, it's like, duh, I was supposed to do this. I was working
Correct,
towards it. It was
but
supposed to happen. Why
I
would I
will,
celebrate it if I was already
But you
preparing
can
for the
appreciate
outcome?
it. I feel it's important to
Yeah, but
appreciate
it's
the
like,
efforts.
but it's like, but it's like, but it's like if in that moment for Andrew it was like somebody told him, dude, you turned pro, and in your head he's like, duh, I
I
was
was
supposed,
supposed
I
to turn
worked for
pro.
this. This is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
point, you
correct.
know?
But it hit me. I will tell you a funny story. It hit me like a few days ago. I went with my mother. I love my mother. My mother, she's been for me. She's been there till I was 16, always believing in me, always, bro. I'm a mommy's boy. I took my mother to a spa, and I had an accident with my old car, and I bought a new car. And it's a nice car. It's a nice Mercedes, a car that I never had in my life. And uh,
Yeah.
because I'm a village boy, bro, and I was I was having a Yaris, a Toyota Yaris of 2005 before this car. Not because I couldn't afford a new car, but I was thinking,
It's
it's
a
better for
luxus.
me if
You
I
don't
buy
need
some
it.
equipment and not buy a car. Car is not a good thing to invest your money on. Anyways, but I was in this nice car going to work out with my AC, going to my place to work out the way I want to work out on my fucking machines, listening my rap music, and it hit me, bro. It hit me like, and I was laughing in the car, and I thought myself, fuck, and I made it. I
Mm.
fucking made it. If the 16-year-old Andrew have seen that, he would be proud of me.
But that's rare, bro. That's rare. A pro at your stage, at
Amazing. I
the
love it.
beginning of your pro career, to have monetized your career already this much. And that's what I wanted to go back to what Phil said. It's one thing to do what you enjoy and to do it for yourself, to say better. But if you can monetize it and do some money, you can
Yeah, That,
feel
that's
good
why
about
I
it,
have
I
talked about
guess.
my mother
it's,
because I can't provide also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a
It
proud. That
fulfills
makes
me
me
so
proud.
much.
Yeah, that makes me proud.
I might say something controversial here, but I don't think I've got two things maybe to say. Because I know Andrew needs to leave too, but I don't think you should focus on doing things you enjoy because hear me out. You can do something, and we all know at least one person like this that has a job that seems like the most boring thing on earth, the least interesting job you could ever imagine, and they love it, and it gives them great happiness. And it's because as people, we look for some sort of direction or proof that we're doing something right in our life. We want instructions. We want to be told if you do this, you're doing everything right. And most people don't have the awareness to be able to challenge what they're doing or challenge their why. It's
Depends
why
on your
people have
character,
religion.
bro, I
You're
think.
told like if you believe in this and you do this, you're a good moral person. But what purpose is so important for us, and especially for men, because you need to feel like you're working towards something that you're doing right. And
Yeah.
what gives us the most amount of purpose and what are we the best at? Things that are innate to our inherent behaviors. So bodybuilding might seem like to Lord for something that I always wanted to be this and I want to do this and I have to be doing it. But it's probably deeper than that. It's probably this is the type of person I am. I like discipline. I like doing the same stuff over and over, making progress. And oh, it just happens to be bodybuilding fits this exact criteria. So
Yeah.
you associate bodybuilding with I really enjoy bodybuilding. That's why I do it. But actually, you enjoy the behaviors that you innately have in you and working
Right.
towards those. People like Lord, I've met that have gone from bodybuilding. I had one particular example of a powerlifter that I used to help, who he made a change into IT and specifically coding for software. And it had a lot of the similar parts of he did the same stuff over and over. He learned a bit, he engulfed himself in knowledge, and he completely stepped away from the gym and powerlifting. And he enjoyed the fuck out of what he did because it touched on the same behaviors. But again, if you find your niche and you get good at it, no matter how boring it is, you tend to enjoy it. I had one guy that I'll finish my point. I had one guy that I met in my career who used to train people for gas safety. So how to work on sites that extract natural gas. And he loved it so much. He used to go to bed at night and have the latest HSC regulations for gas safety and read them and be so happy about it. And he told me, I never thought I'd be doing this, but actually I love it because he found something technical that touches on trying to prevent other people from having harm happen to him. He was a very caring person. And it was technical enough where it was very interesting to understand how everything works. And he was one of the he was the happiest person I think to this day I've met in his career. And he did something that no one else would find interesting.
You probably got paid a lot of money too for that, right?
He got a good amount, but it wasn't really the first thing that was on his mind.
Yeah, sure, sure.
I suppose
Look, there's something for everyone there. You just have to be aware and look inside you and look back. Okay, what is something that I can enjoy and probably
like
I think you don't have to necessarily look inside you because most of the times it's other people that will clear like your picture of the person you are by telling you what you are good at.
yes.
You know?
Example of this from last week. I met up with a
Guys,
psychologist.
I'm sorry.
Andrew,
Good night.
thank you very much, bro. Have a
I
good
love this kind of
sleep.
conversation, guys. I will watch it after on YouTube for
Have a
sure.
good night's sleep. We love you.
Good
Good
night,
night.
Your
good
time,
night,
bro.
guys.
I was saying last week I met a psychologist and we had a really good conversation about that because she was at a bit of a crossroad where she's finished a degree and well, she's starting to become a psychologist. And she explained that I got to talk about what it is about her job that she liked, what it is she does. And we figured out the stuff that applies to psychology. And she always told herself, I want to be a psychologist. There was the social, confirmation that this is a proper career. And it turned out the stuff that she liked about her job are applicable to very, very different career paths, which when I made her write them down and really think about them, end up in three different directions completely, but she would be equally happy with all of them. And I think that's Lord's point, that this was me extracting these thoughts out of her. So as long as you listen to other people as well, you can filter things. A lot of people just chat shit and they say things that aren't really relevant. But if it's something that you think as information is worth holding on to, you can use that to learn about yourself. I've always said I'll listen to what anyone says, no matter how wrong I think they might be. I'll try and go into it because you'll always hear if someone constantly says stupid things, you'll hear at least one thing that's right. And it's worth everything's free information. Just hold on to what you can.
You know what? You know what's the perfect analogy for this? A broken clock is also right twice a day.
Exactly. I suppose what's your whys? Why do you do what you do?
Lord.
No, you.
Oh, okay. You mean now the bodybuilding and everything around it?
If you look at your lifestyle at the moment, what is
Okay.
not a year from now, but what is your overall, what do you think your purpose is? What do you
I
want to
had
do?
a very, very fast life. I grew up as the wonder kid, sports wonder kid. Then I tore both of my Achilles tendon. I went into depression, and bodybuilding is the one thing I found after that, where I can be a high performance athlete on the top level without my injuries impairing me of that. So it's my child dream to become a professional athlete. In my DNA is competitive sports. I love it. but the thing that made me fall in love is in every sport is to push my body to the limits. Like I love the feeling lifting 6 plates off the ground. I love the feeling pushing it, sprinting, everything. What I didn't like and love and appreciate and knew the importance is the dieting and all the resting,
Here's a, I
everything.
just, I just start with that. Why do you like lifting weights? Why do you like pushing yourself?
It's like it's not the lifting. I like high performance athleticism, and
Why?
it's just like having sex, like an orgasm. It feels right. Just feels good. And on top of that, I like comparing myself, and it gives me it gives me a lot. It gave me a lot of how it's called self-esteem.
Yeah, but think more about it, like not as much dopaminergic, more like serotonin. Like
Yeah, bro.
what is the baseline level of satisfaction that it gives you and why? Not the
Okay.
short-term boost thingies,
The
you
thing
know?
I found my biggest weakness as a human being is I don't have patience. I have ADHD. I think I know what you're gonna say with the first two words you say. I've never had patience anything. That's why I am so torn up my body. And bodybuilding taught me structure in my day and patience. And I think this will be and is the most valuable thing for me to becoming a man as a whole and a family and a dad and everything that
If this all disappeared tomorrow, let's say you tore both your biceps or something horrendous happened and you couldn't train, your doctor told you you can't do bodybuilding anymore.
yeah,
What then?
I would still be involved in some kind of way to satisfy my
So you could be involved. Would you be involved in terms of coaching or something else?
probably more coaching, yeah, because
So
the
then
one thing I
your
find
whole
I
point,
enjoy lately more than me actually competing is mentoring young talent.
because
I love it.
my point is then the whole point you made about how much you like lifting weights and why you do it now goes out the window. So there's something else behind there that's bigger than that.
You know what? I can tell you what it is
No,
because let me
yeah,
tell you
okay,
what
okay,
it
okay,
is
okay, tell
because
me.
I know you very well as a person because I had a lot of very insightful and very deep
I'm
conversations
two
with
weeks
you.
out, my
And
brain
I've
doesn't
never
function. Sorry.
very many, and I have never seen you lit up more than when you told me about how badly you want to become a dad. And you also mentioned that right now. I think bodybuilding is your outlet because it teaches you things like discipline, patience that ultimately will get you to your goal of becoming a great dad, which is something that once again I will say it again because I've never saw that kind of, like you literally started glowing when you talked about it. I
Yeah.
remembered very clearly we were in a bus, we were driving home from Mad Gym and we talked about this. And I think this bodybuilding is your way of realizing that dream of building the foundation for you to becoming a great father.
And
It's
on a
getting a
similar
good
note,
man,
then,
and
you talked about the podcast earlier and you brushed past it and you said, well, I'm not really, I saw Devin was doing a podcast and I started it and I like it and stuff, but you said there's more things you want to do. Have you ever questioned why the podcast was such a big thing for you? Why would you pursue something that doesn't have an immediate thing that you'll get back from it? And you don't know if it's going to work or not, and you just do it
I,
because
I, I
no
didn't give
one's
a
doing it.
fuck. I didn't give a fuck if it works or not.
But
I
why do you
put
like bringing
myself.
different guests on with different opinions and different stuff? Part of it may be, like you touched on the mentoring, and what's the biggest part of being a dad? It is passing on what you know to part of yourself that lives on past you. You want them to avoid your mistakes, you want them to grow the best they can, and you want them to have the most out of life, which is
Yeah.
very much our mentoring, which is very much in line with bodybuilding, which is constantly about progressing yourself.
Mhm.
Only what you've done is you've used that niche of everything you've gained as experience, passing it on to others through mentoring. And as Lord said, you lit up when you want to become a dad, it is because there's an inherent need to pass on the information from learning from the good and the bad. Your inherent need is to help other people in that sense.
But
So
that's a part
bodybuilding,
of evolution. Like every generation should get better. and I want to be.
But a lot of people don't see it that way. If you ask a lot of people, their inherent need might just be purely competitive. They don't give a shit about the rest of it. They don't want to help anyone else. In fact, they'll
I
do
do. I
everything
do. It feels
to
right for
make sure
me.
everyone else doesn't.
It just feels
So
right for me.
So your why revolves more around gaining experience, potentially gain experience, gaining knowledge, gaining good fundamentals, which you can then pass on either through the podcast, either through becoming a dad. And then you look at things a different way. Bodybuilding then becomes not just, I want to win this show. It becomes, I want to learn about myself. What is
Exactly.
that preventing me from getting there? If I win, what does that mean for me? And what can I take away from it rather than just a trophy? It's the whole journey that's gone along with it, because prep isn't just a week and then it's done and you win. And it's not necessarily super skill based in terms of, if I become really good at this, there's an unbiased result that means I'm better. The whole part of it is mental. If it's very simple, you just follow your diet and train hard. But why does so few people do it? It's because there's a whole mechanism you need to unlock in yourself, which is individual to you. And you need to learn yourself in the process. Everyone does prep differently. Everyone does bodybuilding differently. Some people do it as more of a lifestyle thing, as a habit, and they don't pay much attention. Other people are really engulfed and want to know every single detail about it. Like, Lord, it's different for everyone because everyone's different, and you want to learn from your own experiences and pass them on. And that's more for me what sounds like a real why. The whole point is you've lived a fast life. You've had a lot of things in your childhood that you had to overcome, like being great at sport and then suddenly losing that. You learn from it. You learn from the things that hurt you the most. And the biggest difference, I suppose, in men and women is men need that pain, or they need something difficult for their life to have purpose. I grew up in England in a place which was very middle class, full of kids that had no difficulty in their life. Half my class were on antidepressants. And you looked at them and said, your whole life is great. Why are you sad? You've got parents that love you.
It's a perception. Everything is perception.
So you need something to compare, which in this case is the good and the bad. And that sounds more like what you gain from it and what you get on the podcast. Because otherwise, you could just make videos where it's just you that talk for your own vanity and you don't want to hear anyone else, but you always listen to what everyone else has to say. That's the main reason why it's worked.
I love debate. I love debate. I love for people to hear different opinions and form their own opinion. But for the podcast, it's mainly, I didn't think about monetizing it or everything or anything else. I just wanted to provide for people that what got me through COVID, which is simple bullshit company. Not that what instead of antidepressants and being depressed, just listen to 4 or 5 idiots talking shit, and that helped me tremendously.
And from every person, you will learn something. A lot of people do only like to bring on people that are of the same type, the same background, and they want an echo chamber for their own opinions. I saw this back to corporate world. One company I was in, the manager there, the biggest mistake he made was he hired people that were just like him.
Yes,
And there's no other opinion because he only wanted people to agree with him. And he never grew as a person, and he stayed doing the same thing for the rest of his career. He never had any growth, which what you seek is growth in those aspects. It's learning and then passing it on. That sounds like the biggest why. And that's the thing that's governing everything you do. Why do you want to become a better bodybuilder for yourself? Okay, once you become a better bodybuilder and you prove to everyone that you're great, what then? It
you
needs
know
to have
what other thing is? That you're completely right with that. I enjoy it, and now I realize it myself. But I feel this podcast and now the mentoring and gathering information is the precursor for my validity later to stay in the business. But remember, I was a drug addict, so I was dopamine hunting, and it's my character. I love it. But bodybuilding is something that gives me my daily dopamine and got me away actually from drugs. And now I'm addicted to it. And my psychologist said as well, it's like René, Suchtverlagerung, how it's called. It's addiction transferring. Yeah,
shifting your addiction into something
and
else.
I'm addicted to many parts of it, to the competitive nature, to the weightlifting, to everything. And passively, all this information gathering happens, and I got luck. I was raised by very good parents. They taught me that what you telling all the time to when someone talks, listen, you're always gonna get
But
something.
you're touching on what is the most common aspect, which is important to all men, whether they realize it or not. Let's put in this, I'll change the topic slightly, but it's relevant. And I've had this conversation loads because it blows my mind that no one seems to really identify this. At the moment, you have, I call it the battle of the sexes, right? You have you have women that can be ultra feminist, and you can have men that's the new wave now, which sort of start from the Andrew Tate stuff, which is I'm a man, I can do whatever I want on this and that, and I don't need anyone else. I just need me and my fellow friends. And they both work against each other. What men wouldn't do anything that they do if there wasn't a purpose at the end of it, which for men is, like you said, to be a dad. Why would you bother working hard? Why would you do all these things if you didn't have anyone to share it? Sure, there's outliers, but the vast majority, it's exactly that. And it's like I don't know a single man, no matter how successful they are, that doesn't have at least one son, whether they or daughter, whether they've stayed with their wife or not is different, or whether they ever got married is different. But there's at least one person they want to share it for, because otherwise, what happens?
The
You
meaning
can
of
have a
life,
whole.
when your career is all set and you accomplish that, the other 40, 50 years you're going to live on this earth will not have a meaning if you're not going to be passing on something. I mean, this is the mission
Exactly.
for a man, I feel.
Yeah.
And that's the same trap. I've met women that have been in this trap where they've been career women, let's say, and they get to a certain age and it might be past the point where they can even have kids,
Yeah.
and they have all their friends out of their families every Christmas and they are there by themselves. And
Pretending
that's
to be happy.
and you see it from both sides. I've never met a single man that's very successful past the age of 50 without kids. The ones I have met without kids, there's some craziness in their life. There's some sort of vice that they require to just feel alive. And so what you're describing now, it very much just touches on that main point that you need something to basically keep you interested in your life, and it needs to have a purpose. And the why that you're describing is very much in line with that. And some people don't like that because they say, well, now I'm like everyone else. But we exist because that is the way most of us are built. And regardless of how competitive you are in anything you do in your life, regardless of how big your ambition is, it all boils down to that at the end of it. No one's going to remember everyone cares about what they leave on this earth. That's why Greeks believe in Isterothymia so much. Thukydides, in the history of the Peloponnesian War, said that it's not really what we build and we leave behind us in terms of physical monuments, buildings, or structures. It's how we've interweaved ourselves into the lives of others.
Yeah.
And that was a part that was important for me with the gym. Yes, there's a big gym now that exists in Peristeri, but someone is going to leave their job and is going to change the route they take to get home because I built a gym. They'll come in here and they might feel that they've got a better environment than they had before, and they might be excited to lift. They might then go into bodybuilding. They might do a bunch of things, but
Changing lives for the better.
I've had a
Yeah.
direct influence on their life because of that. Whether it's good or bad, I've had an influence. And that is it. That's the innate need for men. We wouldn't do anything we do if it wasn't for sharing it at the end of it. There's outliers, but could you say you'd care about having a great career and having yourself,
Oh, hell no.
at a great point develop if you were never going to get a partner in life or kids or someone to transfer that to? No, you
Hell no.
wouldn't bother.
I literally think so often about it. One reason I want to become a famous and good bodybuilder is so I can bring my son to school and his friends gonna, oh, well, father, this is your dad, blah, blah, blah. I mean, how cool would be that? You know? I want to be a dad, of course. You can be proud of from the way I raise you and behave and blah, blah, blah. But it's cool to be something special for your kid, so you can flex about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, even if they can learn from it, like my father, I never saw him as a role model. And I never thought, even when I was like 5, I never thought I want to be like my dad. But everyone loved him and he had his own merits and his own things. They just weren't important for me in terms of what I wanted to be like. But I still learned from all his experience, and the people he influenced went on to change their lives off the back of it. And it's something that I tried to apply in mine. I've got people that their whole lifestyle is completely different and they've achieved things I didn't think they could because I was somehow directly involved in that. And regardless of what I do, I've still got that. I've still got someone's life that I've influenced, and there's nothing stronger than it being literally your creation. Like if you're with a woman and you've created a being,
Yeah.
you have that direct influence. You can mold that person to being the best version of themselves, not to who you want them to be, but to who's right for them. And that's what you get with let's say the podcast. You have people that say loads of different things, and at the end of it, someone's going to identify more with one person or the other, and they'll learn something from it. And that's probably why you do this.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons for sure.
Yeah.
Guys, this was a great conversation. I really thank you both and Andrew for your time. It's not little time or how it's called. It's 2.5 hours. Phil, thank you very much. I know how busy you are. I would love to have you back on
Yeah, I want to
English
pick
on
your
the group.
brain. I want to pick your brain more often
Yeah,
on these
yeah.
conversations that we had in the last half an hour.
I learned things about myself I didn't know, to be honest. You could be a psychologist, if not a gym owner, for sure.
I don't believe in psychology in the traditional format I see it now, but that's because it's not right for me, or I don't think it's applied in the right way. But I do think it's a great help for a lot of people. I don't know, maybe not the traditional sense, but I do enjoy helping people.
Just talking, people, if you see this, just talking to someone close, or what I see here is people talk to prostitutes about their problems, which is cool because they don't judge. But yeah, talk to your family, talk to your close ones. Don't internalize your shit because it's gonna come out at some point and it's not gonna be good. Yeah, write in the comments if you liked Phil in this episode. I think you liked him. And Lord, thank you very much. I love you. You have some
Of
shit
course.
weird. What you gonna eat?
Avocado, chicken, and rice.
Fucking boring, bro. So boring. But that's okay. Phil, what
This
you
is
gonna
my
eat?
diet.
You
I
gonna
hope your I hope your food is
what's
more
that?
boring.
I'm gonna eat.
Nicotine.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna eat chicken and rice. Yeah. But I would love it now. You know how hungry I am, bro. Anyway, thank you all viewers for watching it. Like, subscribe if you liked it. If you don't. You can dislike. And yeah, until next time, guys.
Thank you, everyone.